everybody. Welcome to Hot on the Presses.
Where we're hot.
And on the presses.
This is wacky. This is the first all-digital edition of Hot on the Presses. This is how it's gonna be for the foreseeable future.
It feels so weird to not see you, like, in front of me and then see, like,
I
the Oglethorpe house parking lot behind you.
I can't just reach over and smack you if you have a horrible take, so
I
it's
know.
just a lose-lose situation all around.
I can't see the disgust cross your face when I say something bad.
Did you want to hop on video just so that we can see each other's beautiful, beautiful, sexy faces?
Sure, let's see if it makes my mic go all wacky weird.
Oh god, your space is so good. I'm in the fucking attic. This is failing. This is not working.
This
isn't
L.
doing it.
Not slay. Not slay.
No.
I'm in my room.
Not absolutely certified not slay.
My laptop is like right on my bed. And so then behind me is my whole wall, which has my 2 signed records on it. I got my Fleet Foxes test pressing and my Vampire Weekend Father of the Bride up there.
I was just about to make fun of you for Father of the Bride.
I like that album.
I hated that album. I hate Vampire Weekend already, but that album was
really?
like, yeah, that's their worst album to me.
What's your beef with Vampire Weekend?
They're so prissy.
You're part of the industry plant club?
No, I hate industry. I hate the concept of industry plants. I think they don't exist. I think they're not. I don't think they're industry plants. I just think they suck because they wear vineyard vines. Look, I've seen.
I see that.
I've living in Connecticut. I've seen more than enough of that in my life. I don't need somebody to make an Afrobeat song about Cape Cod at me. Okay, like that just doesn't need to happen.
I feel that. I like them personally. I feel like they're very jovial, and I don't really mind the preppiness. I liked Father of the Bride because I thought that it was a lot more like down to earth than some of their other stuff. Like I liked the kind of demo-y aspect of it.
Yeah, it was demo-y.
But I think that's mostly because I really hate the album before that, which is Modern Vampires of the City. I think that's a bad album.
I don't like that one.
Most people think that that's like they're one of their best. Like at least critically, people think that's one of their best, and I think it's awful. I think it's really overproduced and super like shoddy sounding. But I think their best is Contra.
I really like Rostam's work most of the time in production. Like he did that new Carly Rae Jepsen single that we covered that I was really into. I think he has a really fun kind of like shambolic touch when he does stuff. Like he's just having fun with it. But yeah, no, the songwriting and Ezra Koenig's whole persona are just too grating and too Connecticut for me to really like dig into as a band. Like it's just never going to stick with me.
Too Connecticut. That's a really funny way to put it.
I don't think they're even from Connecticut.
Yeah, I think where are they from?
They're New England.
Yeah, something like that.
They're from New York City, which means they're from like preppy gentrified Brooklyn, $10 says. Which like that's also where I'm from, so I can't like judge them too much, but I don't want to hear them about it.
Oh goodness.
The internet hype has had its backlash, however, as critics reacted against a perceived image of Vampire Weekend as privileged, upper-class Ivy League graduates stealing from foreign musicians. One critic went so far as to call Vampire Weekend the whitest band in the world, to which they took exception given their Ukrainian, Italian, and Hungarian heritages.
No way! No!
Oh my god.
That's crazy.
This is 2009, so this is from when they were touring their self-titled. Good Lord God.
Dude, did you know that Italians are the most oppressed minority?
That's difficult.
Do you as an Italian feel seen?
I will say Rostam was in the band at that point, but at the same time, Jesus. Just Jesus.
Yeah.
Oh Lord.
What do you have records at home? You do, right?
I do. I have very many. They're downstairs. Yeah. My most recent snag is I was looking for a copy of Limbo by Amine for like months, and then I was buying my outfit for graduation at Urban Outfitters, and they just had it on the wall in there, and I said, well, not where I wanted to get it from, but we do what we must.
You gotta do what you gotta do.
You gotta do what you gotta do. I also picked up fairly recently My actual real local record shop, Lucy Dacus's VHS, or
Oh,
home video is the album.
nice.
And my girlfriend picked up Heartworms by the Shins, which I believe is their most recent album, the one with the big skeleton thing on the cover.
Didn't you say that one kind of sucked?
Well, yeah, that's the thing. We were like, "Oh yeah, we love the Shins. This record looks cool." And then she went home and listened to it and was like, "Hey, this album actually kind of blows chunks." And I was like, "No way!" So I went and I listened to it on my own, and I was like, "Huh, it seems this album blows chunks."
Yeah.
So
I have Wincing the Night Away right next to me right now.
I do not have "Wincing the Night Away." Tragically, my like old school. I say old school, but you know what I mean. Like
Yeah.
2000s, early 2010s indie rock selection is lacking. Like I have Arctic Monkeys AM. I have the Catamest. I have something Cage the Elephant. I think I have Thank You Happy Birthday.
Mhm.
Um, but that's really it because I was like 13, 14 at that time. So I was
Yeah.
not listening to the Shins. I was listening to Fall Out Boy for the most part. So
I was listening to both at the same time, which is kind of wild.
that's really good, actually.
Yeah. So I was listening to Fleet Foxes, The Shins, Panic at the Disco, and Fall Out Boy at the same time, and
Very
I got
similar bands all around.
oh, yeah, and I got those records all at the same time. For Christmas, I got,
That's funny.
Wincing the Night Away, I got Helpless Blues, I got Fully Ado, and I got Vices and Virtues.
That's very funny.
It was good.
I picked up Save Rock and Roll in a Barnes and Noble as an adult because I saw it and I was like, yeah, okay, fine. I do also have their like new greatest hits compilation, like the second volume of Believers Never Die, so it's
Mhm.
like it is between it's like Mania because I got it from a coworker for like $5.
Yeah.
I was like, why not? I like some of these songs.
Is the greatest hit section off of Mania just nothing? Just
It
vacant
is
completely?
it's Hold Me Tight or Don't, which I will admit that I like. I'll admit to liking about half of Mania.
Mm.
I'll fess up to that. Like I know it's not good, but I kind of like it anyway. Um, Guilty pleasures don't exist, so I don't care. But I'll admit to having a strange fascination with Young and Menace. Like I like it, but I'm not sure what it is that I like about it. It's like this track is the auditory equivalent of like trying to swallow like like a metal fork. Like I feel like Squidward with the fork caught in his throat when I listen to this
Yeah.
song, but like in a good way.
I think Young and Menace might be one of the first tracks in my life where I was like, "Oh, I'm developing taste because I can tell you certifiably this is not good."
Well,
Uh,
the second single was Champion, and I heard that and I said, "Oh, this album's not going to be good, is it?"
no, I remember when that came out, my friend Natalie and I were really into Fall Out Boy still at the time, and, I we looked at each other and we were like, "Oh god."
The line on Champion that he says is, "I'm the champion of people who don't believe in champions," which really just makes me so Pete, Peter, Peter Wentz, my
Peter
man.
Wentz.
Are you going through something right now?
Peter Wentz is the Joker, that's why they're soundtracking the Joker musical.
Oh, throws up. The only good thing Fall Out Boy has done very recently is the 100 Gex remix. That shit slappy.
I love that song. I
It
was like,
goes so
"Oh
hard.
god, if they did more stuff like this, that would be
Fa-
good."
Fall Out Boy, that guy from Kyoto's, and Nicole Dollenganger is like a match made in hell, and they just did it anyway. Like
One
it
that
was
only
just fine.
X would put together. Like, this
Yeah,
just the machinations of 2 mad people.
it's very very good. So what have you been doing since this school year concluded?
Oh, good goodness. I came home. I'm in California currently, and I
Gay.
hell yeah. So I've been hanging out. I'm grateful to have my own room again, which makes me even more stoked to not have to return to
That's true.
a
That's
dorm with
true.
another person. Um, and I've been chilling with
That's
my mom and my dogs
you dogs.
and working a lot.
Yeah. What have you been doing?
So my
What's
job
your working?
My working I'm honestly super fortunate because I've never had to have a normal job in my life. I have only ever worked at an art studio. So first I was an aide, which was basically just stocking shelves and kind of janitoring lately. But now I have moved up the ranks and I'm a teacher. So I teach the youths how to draw and be cool.
The youths of
Um,
tomorrow, a single tear wipes
exactly.
from my eyes.
Yeah, they're my friends always joke, they're like, "You have their fates in your hands," but I'm like, "It's kinda not a joke." Like,
No,
I could make or break some of these kids going into
you
an art
could
career,
you
you
could
know?
you could ruin or severely improve these children.
Yeah, exactly, and I always try to improve them,
When they come to you, the children are mid, but when they leave, they are based.
yeah, I want never to make anyone leave cringer than they came.
God.
Like, I do sometimes one time I developed this awful, awful habit of using, like, internet language that I would use at school with the kids. So,
Oh,
like,
great.
there was one time recently where I was teaching a workshop. It was anime and cartooning, so I was, like, already in, like,
No,
that
no,
space.
no, you can't just say that. You have to back up. You go
Yeah.
to the little children's art institute and you teach them anime?
It's a summer workshop. So our summer workshop selection is anime and cartooning, faces and figures, perspective, 2 clay workshops for the kids, and plein air. So you can do a
And
lot.
and you looked at this roundup of things you can accomplish, that you can mold young minds to do, and you
Yeah.
said, "You know what? I'm gonna be the anime professor. That's what
Believe
I'm
it or
going to
not,
do."
I don't pick, but because I am the one who is, like, most
Your
hip and with it, they put me in anime a lot of the time.
your
So last
your
summer, I taught 4 of them, and this summer I'm teaching 1.
your Hogwarts house is anime. That's what's just happened to you
Yeah,
here.
I've been typecasted, uh, as as woman who likes anime.
Weeb! Fucking weeb!
So I, like one of my kids, like, drew really fast, like, they finished their picture, like, immediately, and I came over and I was
How
like,
old are the kids generally?
so for the anime, it's 7 plus. So,
Oh
the
god!
kids are anywhere from 7 to, like, normally, like, 15 is the highest that they'll go.
What anime do they even watch? I guess Pokemon.
Well, they also can do cartoons. So sometimes
Okay.
they're like, "Oh, I wanna draw like Snoopy," and I'm like,
Okay.
"Cool." But a lot of the time they also will just pick out Pokemon and, like, do that, or they'll
Based.
see an anime lady they think is pretty and do her or something like that.
Yeah.
One of my kids is, like, 9 and his favorite show is Fullmetal Alchemist Brotherhood. I was like, "Oh, go
Radicalize
Angelo."
them young,
Yeah,
radicalize them
exactly.
young.
I was like, "That's my favorite show too."
Oh my god.
So he did a little picture of Edward Elric that was pretty dope.
Full Metal Alchemist doing the Lord's work of turning our kids into Antifa at age 9. Literally,
Yeah,
people think the government is doing that. No, it's Full Metal Alchemist.
yeah, Mrs. Arakawa is molding the youths
Oh
years
my
after.
god.
I love
Legend.
her, but,
I do love that she never did anything ever again. How do you
she
follow
she
that
did
up?
well, she did Silver Spoon.
Which is the farming one, right?
Yeah, which is
But
cute.
it's very low stakes. Like
Yeah.
it's not intended as a follow-up to that or anything. Just
No, not at
very like,
all.
okay,
She
here's the thing.
she knows how to end a story and leave it at, like, ended, you
Yeah.
know? Which I respect because a lot of different anime, cough, cough, Neon Genesis Evangelion just keep adding.
One Piece.
One Piece
My
indeed.
Hero Academia, any
Yep.
popular show of the last 5 billion years. I've been
I
enjoying
would say Bleach, but I'm actually really excited to see Bleach, get closed off finally,
I've
animated.
I've been enjoying the hell out of Jujutsu Kaisen recently. That show fucks.
I have a figure of Itadori Yuji right
Oh,
there
my little son.
that I got for my birthday from my
Oh,
friend.
my little freakazoid son. He's
He
so fucked up.
vibrates
I
every
love
time I
him.
play music.
He's so there's so much wrong with him, heart emoji.
Yeah. I also got a shirt of, I can't remember his name, the speaker guy,
Oh,
and it
Inumaki.
yeah, Inamaki, and it's just his head, and then it says tuna mayo underneath it, so I
Very,
that
very good.
yeah, so I we don't have any of, like, the more recent anime in the books, which is kinda sad. Like, I think that the last time it was updated was, like, 2000, like, 14 or
Oh,
something.
jeez.
So
Oh,
they're pretty
jeez.
old, but, I wanna update it more, but, it's
you
whatever.
have to bring in, like, you have to introduce the kids to, like, Dora Hetero and, like, just completely fuck them up on, like, cannibalism. This is what you have to do to mold the young minds of tomorrow.
I'm gonna get them into Beastars and make a generation of furries at our
Oh,
step.
no.
But
The
so one of the kids finished his picture, like, super early, and I just come by and I was like, "Oh my god, you're cracked." And he looks at me and he was like, "What?" I was like, "Oh, no." So I had to, like and the kids next to him were like, "What does that mean?" So I had to explain what being cracked was, and I could tell they just kinda, like, turned off halfway through the explanation.
I
Like,
think
"This isn't worth my time."
I prefer to believe they just assimilated it into their belief system, and they're going home telling their dads they're, like, cracked at mowing the lawn or whatever.
I
Um
did actually have one today where I would, like, at break, I would complain about how I hadn't gotten the word for that day in Wordle. And this one girl, I called her my hater in the class because she was just like so like anti like Wordle and all of that. She was like, "You're not gonna get it, Miss Megan." I was like, "What?" And she was like, "You're no shot. Like you're gonna go home and you're not gonna be able to get it." And I was like, "Okay, you're a hater.
Miss
I'm gonna
Megan,
get
you're
it."
fucking washed. You
Yeah,
are
literally.
absolutely incapable. You are going to hell. You will
I'm
never get
cringe.
this Wordle.
I'm stupid. I'm not base at all.
You
So
fell off, plus ratioed, plus you're bald.
the first thing I said to her the day after, I pointed at her and I said, "I got it, the word." But, she her parents came to pick her up today, and the dad looks at me and goes, "Are you the Wordle teacher?" And I was like, "Oh, no."
That's like so I worked at a summer camp for 3 years. I went to this summer camp for 10, and then I was a CIT for 3, and I
Mhm.
worked there for 3 years. And the last year was hell on earth because I was so burnt out. I was so done with standing around in 80-degree heat all the time with these little children running around me. I was just so done with it.
Yeah.
I was I think 18 or 19, like I was so done. So in the final days of the summer, I took to drawing Pokemon for kids because they would bring in Pokemon cards and they'd bring them up to me and be like, "Hey, can you draw this one?" I
Mhm.
was like, "Yeah, yeah." And so this one kid's parents came up to me and handed me back all of the art that I had given the kid. And she was like, "So you're the artist, huh? Stop sending my kid home with these." I was like, "Oh my god." That mom
Bro,
that mom was my hater.
that I w imagine.
That mom was my hater.
She is a hater.
Doing summer camp in, Fairfield County, Connecticut is insane. Because I remember this one kid, and he was, like, this delightful little kid. He reminded me of, the chubby little kid from The Sandlot, or not The Sandlot, The Goonies. Chunk from The
Oh,
Goonies.
okay.
And he was like this lovely little kid. He was kind of chubby, but he loved sports, and he was just very cute and accident prone. Like he would fall down all the time, but he would get back up with like this huge grin on his face. He
Mhm.
just seemed to have awful luck, like wherever it like didn't count. It was so
Yeah.
funny, and I loved this kid, and I was hanging out with him all summer. And I returned him to his mom at the end of the year, like, "Oh yeah, so and so has been like such a delight to have all summer. He's been so good." And she says, "Have a blessed school year." And he gets back in the car, and as they drove away, there was a fucking AK just in the back of the window, like it was like like a sedan car with
Yeah.
like a back window that you can like perch something on top of, like on top of the trunk area. There was an AK. Just
Dude.
yeah, this place sucks.
Oh my god.
It's crazy.
That is
It's
bonkers.
It's crazy ass. Um,
That
since I
sucks.
Yeah, it's wild. Since I've been home, I have been doing very little because I don't have a job.
Not yet.
No, not yet. That's the vibe. That's the vibe. I graduated, so I've been taking it easy, just drawing for a little while.
You graduated like
Um,
a dum-dum and left me.
I did. I left you behind. Hence why we are fully digital now.
Yeah.
The main thing I've been attempting to do is attend Smash tournaments, and I
Mhm.
don't know if you know anything about Connecticut Smash,
I don't.
but the number one player in the U.S., Paris Ramirez, otherwise known as Light, he's a Fox main. He is fucked. The man is nuts,
Yeah.
and for some reason he goes to my local because he is from Connecticut. He's the
Well,
best player. He's the best player in the country, and he just happens to go to my local. So I was like, you know what?
The
I'm
bar
gonna
is
go.
high.
Yeah. So my real local, the one like 15 minutes from me that was in the building that I used to work at an art store in,
Mhm.
uh, that one they stopped doing it. So I have to drive about an hour to go to Waterbury, Connecticut, which is it's a city like about an hour from where I am. And that's where Light is from. So that is where he attends the tournaments. And it's like a new tournament series, like a new place just opened up that's doing them. And so I went. They're holding bi-weekly tournaments on Tuesdays and Fridays. So I went to the one on Tuesday and I had an awesome time. I met a ton of cool new people. I got a ton of good games in.
Oh, yay.
Um, I ended up coming 22nd out of 45, which is not bad at all for like
Mm-mm.
being a little rusty and being on a new character because I'm on Corrin now. Um,
Yeah, baby, Corin
yeah,
Mains,
yeah, we're both Corrin players, which is crazy. Both of
which
us, me
means
and
that we're
Megan.
both epic and cool.
We are correct. Um, so I had an awesome time with this local. It was the biggest weekly I'd ever been to. 45 people is crazy for a weekly. I got to see Light play. I got to talk to him a little bit. You can get. I've been considering it like an in-person coaching session from him
Mm.
if you go there. So that's all stuff that's very very cool. So I was like, wow, this was great. I bet the Friday event will be even better. So I said to my girlfriend, who used to come with me to the tournaments near us because we have a bunch of friends there, and there's a couple people we know that are also going here now, and my friend Finn and my brother. And I said, hey, why don't we all go to this tournament on Friday? I had a great time on Tuesday. It'll be awesome. And the guy who runs it was like, yeah, the Friday events that we've been doing have been smaller, but there's been a pretty good turnout anyway. I'm not sure why they've been smaller. I mean, it's a Friday, so I guess people have other things to do. But I was like, that's fine. Smaller is better. I'm sure if it's a smaller event, only the people who are like really competitive will show up. So we go, we gather everybody in the car. It takes about an hour and a half to get there, picking up everybody and then getting there. We roll up, and there are 3 people there.
Oh.
3,
Oh,
5,
no.
5 counting myself and my brother, and then the guy who runs them joined in to make it 6, and then farmed all of us. Um, so we show up, and it's like some crusty guys playing Magic and Yu-Gi-Oh, and 3 people who are there for Smash Brothers,
Ooh.
and it's just unreal. Like we drive an hour and a half, we play a round robin for 45 minutes, and then we just leave. Like we just go home. Like there's nothing else to do.
Yeah,
So that's been what's happening with me.
that
And
is
then
nuts.
this week I maybe have COVID at the moment. If you hear me coughing on this podcast, I'm very very sorry. I have
Bum, bum, bum.
Yeah, I am ill. I'm an ill little fragile old grandma. I have my Hall's cough drops right here.
Oh,
Um
goodness. Are you
yeah,
drinking plenty of throat coat tea?
I'm drinking lots of orange juice. I had some soup earlier today. My mother purchased Gatorade for me, so I'm replenishing my electrolytes.
That's
Um
science, baby.
yeah,
Drink that blue ambrosia. What
that
flavor did you
that
get?
blue ambrosia. It's red. I like the red ones best.
Ah.
I also have the cherry Hall's cough drops because I am a notorious hater of candies and things that aren't fruit flavored.
Hmm.
It's because I'm gay and I'm a fruit.
The cherry cough drops, I don't know, something about them is so, like, unfriendly. Like,
Well, it's like lean, you know.
no, I don't actually.
Yeah, it's
Can
like
you elaborate on
it
that?
helps you with cough, flavored like fruit. You can eat too many of them and it will have negative effects. Hope this helps.
Thanks. That does actually.
Yeah.
It's more just the flavor, like, it's so acrid, like, they just feel super, like, I don't know, the cherry flavor is really sharp to me. I like the ones that are, like, yogurty, you know what I mean?
Okay. There was this fucking flavor of Halls that they've had when I was in high school or middle school. I don't remember, and it was like orange creamsicle. And I don't even remember. I feel like I'm making this up because I can't find any evidence that it ever existed, but they were the most delicious shits in the world. I swear to God, I would just eat them like candy.
Yeah, no, they did exist because I did the same thing.
There was a girl in my grade in middle school who would just bring cough drops and eat them, which is Interesting. That's
what are the negative side effects?
well, let's look at the drug facts on this bad boy. You're only supposed to take one every 2 hours, which is slightly insane to me.
Are you doing that?
No, I'm popping them consistently because my throat hurts and I don't want to cough while talking. Okay, we've just devolved into Hall's cough drop flavor discourse, which I think is something that should not be encouraged
I think
on
that's
a.
a cue to move on.
Yeah, that is definitely our cue to. This is just what happens when you lock us in a room together. So I'm glad that we're preserving this energy over the
Yeah,
internet.
definitely.
Um.
The double probable ADHD
Oh
together.
yeah,
It's
yeah. I I
a
don't.
bad setup.
I think if I recorded a podcast on my meds, we would have a worse product. um. Real quick before we get into our albums, it definitely does bear saying that today is the day. This'll be going up later in the week or next week. But today is the day that the Supreme Court struck down Roe v. Wade and instantly criminalized abortions in about 50% of the country. And this is a good vibes podcast, and I don't want to spend too much of our time like really going into the meat of that. But I do think it deserves to be said that if you are going out to protest this weekend or into next week or really anytime, leave your phone at home, don't talk to cops, and stay safe. Like, just take care of your own. This era we are in sucks really hard. We have to do everything we can to stop shit like this from continuing to happen, because if we just leave shit as it is going to just keep getting worse. They're already coming for gay rights next and access to contraception next. Like, they've publicly stated that in their opinion pieces. So yeah, stay safe out there. Fuck the Supreme Court and all that. Please be careful
Hot on
this
the
weekend.
Presses stands with you, opposing this. We're going to be doing our part as well, because I already went to the pro-choice march in Savannah, and I hope to find another one around here to go to. Maybe, I don't know if I'll go to LA because I don't want to get rubber bulleted, but
I might not end up going to anything around here due to my current, perhaps, COVID state. But I know that there is one happening here tomorrow in a town pretty close to me. So depending on how I feel tomorrow, I may turn out.
Yeah. Also, should be noted that a lot of the discourse, I guess, that I've seen around this, people are saying it as if this is a like a cis woman's only issue, which it most certainly is not. This needs to be intersectional, because people with uteruses and wombs are not solely cis women, and HRT is also under threat. So
HRT is also not birth control. Like, people think it is and it isn't. So you still have to be really careful with that. Anybody who is capable of getting pregnant is in danger because of this.
Exactly.
Also worth mentioning real quick, the intersectionality has to come on race as well, because this is going to affect much more disproportionately poor women of color than anybody else. So this is it's just all bad shit. It's just all bad shit, and it needs to burn.
Yep.
So on that very happy note, would we like to transition to our albums?
Yeah. Fuck the USA.
Yep.
All right. But a less hearty fuck to Flume with Palaces. So, this one was interesting.
Yeah, it sure was.
This is the thing. I didn't not like it, but I also didn't love it. And there was a couple moments where I was like, wow, that's something special.
This has been getting a pretty mixed reception. And I agree with that, but I kind of disagree with the overall reasoning that people have been giving. I think anybody who says this is his like commercial album is on crack. It sounds exactly like Skin,
Yeah.
but that's kind of part of the issue, is that there's not a ton of progression from what he's done before. Like this
Mhm.
is certainly less of a step forward than his the
Mixtape?
tape that he dropped. Yeah, the Hi This Is
Yeah.
Flume tape. So that like creative like backpedaling combined with, as you're saying, some songs that are
Baffling.
questionable, very questionable,
Yeah.
um it makes this record for me kind of inconsistent and not super strong on like its own identity within Flume's catalog now.
Yeah.
um
I thought that it felt very bog standard, not in, like, a way where it felt like he was really comfortable and, like, extrapolating on what he does normally and doing it really, like, exceptionally well this time. Like, it didn't feel
yeah,
like he was sharpening anything. It just felt like he was kind of lazy with the way that he approached a lot of these songs.
yeah,
Um,
I don't think it's terrible. Like, there's certainly highlights that are worth your time if you're into this kind of music or are a Flume enjoyer.
yeah.
But we had to wait so fucking long for this project after Hi This Is Flume. I hope this doesn't just kind of end up being what Flume albums are now, because he's so influential. Like he's done too much better to go down like this.
Influential. Sorry, I'm sorry, I'm so I just that's why you were sick. It was your body was preparing to for
To hear
me.
that pun. You
Yeah.
should that was my moment, like the scene from Scanners where the guy's head explodes as soon as you said that. That was me.
Yeah. That was the holy grail and you just melted.
Yep. Um
Anyway.
yeah, whatever. There are I don't want to be too down on this, because there are a bunch of songs that I really liked and are like in my rotation now. Like like I've been getting a lot out of Say Nothing when we had that on as a single, and Palaces too. I was very into those as singles, and I still like them as album cuts. I Can't Tell is also one that was like, I think he's really good at these like minimalist drops that still have like a face punch.
Yeah.
Um, Laurel does really well on this. I really like her performance here. There's some cool uses of like early 2000s chopping and vocal ducking, which is fun.
Mhm.
Um, he really likes that Sophie drum kit, huh? He's into it.
Yeah. Gotta keep the memory alive somehow.
Oh yeah,
I personally, my favorites were probably, see, I don't know how much I stand by this favorites list because don't remember what the first two on here sound like, but I do
yeah.
like the last three. I wrote down that I liked Highest Building and Get You, which I don't even really remember how those sound.
Those both landed on my least favorite.
So take that with a grain of salt. But I do stand by that I enjoyed Jasper's song a lot. That's
Yep,
the only one that I've really gone back to. I
I
do listen to that
loved
quite a
Jasper's
bit.
song.
That one is I think has by far the most character. It's just a sweet track. And I wish that there was more like that. I really like the way that the piano kind of ducks in and out and
Yeah,
gets like messed with. I think it adds a lot of interest to it.
yeah, totally.
And the build on it, that like rising synth that's kind of rough,
Yeah, the
contrasting
song
really
just gets
nicely.
kind of eaten.
Yeah, and it contrasts so nicely with that piano, and the piano slowly, like it feels like it degrades kind of more and more as that synth rises. So it feels probably like one of the most rewarding songs I would say on this album.
Jasper's song is the one moment on this album that I can point to and say, yeah, that's a huge step forward for him,
Yeah.
because he's never done anything like this before. Like this is it. Like, we're talking about all these elements on it, but it deserves to be said that this track doesn't have any drums on it, and it's just like a
No.
piano ballad with like distortion and like this synth that rises over the passage of it, just
Mhm.
slowly consuming the track more and more. The atmosphere is so good. I actually that was the other big thing that happened since I've been home, was I wrapped up this D&D campaign that I've been running for going on almost 4 years.
Dang.
It finally came to an end.
Mhm.
Um and Yeah, I used this song for part of the for like an emotional moment in the finale, so it's just always gonna stick with me for
Yeah.
that now. Rest in peace to the old goats. Welcome to the new goats. Shout out
R.I.P.
anybody who was in my D&D campaign listening to this.
I liked it a lot also as, like, kind of a marriage of 2 things that I like outside of this album.
Mhm.
It sort of felt like Flume Does Nurture, by Porter Robinson.
I
Um
also used Lifelike by Porter Robinson for the
Yep,
very, very last scene of that
yeah,
of the D&D campaign.
and, so it feels like Flume takes on Nurture, that kinda style, and the piano really, really reminds me of Need Be by Elrain or Lorraine, however you pronounce it. And that is a good thing because that song is 1 minute long, and I
Mhm.
really enjoy that piano tone, so I was really
Mhm.
glad to hear that. I just
Uh,
really hope to hear more like this in the future from him and
yeah.
rather than kinda receding into what there was across the rest of the album.
I would love to hear a full record from him with this kind of thing, almost as like transitory passages. Like, if I'm listening to a Flume record, I do want some crazy drops. Like, I'm not going to say that's not what I go to Flume for, but like, I would love to hear a more restrained Flume album that uses shit like this as like
Mhm,
as like like this is the mood of the album. Like this is the kind of thing that's on the interlude cuts and stuff.
mhm.
Um,
I
as for
also really
highest,
enjoyed Sirens.
yeah, that one was good.
I just like Miss Polacek. So I thought that having the juxtaposition between her like high falsetto against the really trappy backing beat
Mhm.
was a cool use of that, and that one's pretty minimal too. So I'm hoping that that kind of gives her some steam.
I miss her. I miss her so much. She needs to come back. Um, as for highest building, I went back and forth with that one because I like the general idea of it, but this is the one track on the album that I can point to that's like, yeah, that's very standard Flume. Like the delayed beats, the Sophie drum kit, and then I found the that I don't even remember who the hell was on the track, who the featured artist was. If you'll give me a second, I can find that out. Her name is Oklo, and I thought her performance was so like anonymous EDM lady. Uh, like I don't know, it's pretty repetitive, and the biggest thing was that like it. So the initial drop definitely feels like it's missing something compared to the last one, which adds in like this higher synth. Like it is missing something in that like higher register, which to compare it to Say Nothing, like Say Nothing also has like a drop, and then at the end of the song, the drop brings in more elements. But like the first drop still feels more complete, and then the second one just builds on that rather than like you made this second drop first and then took out an element to make it the first drop. You know, like it definitely
Mhm.
feels like there's like some element, some like foundational element here that has been taken out. I went back
Yeah.
and forth on it because there are some tones and things I like in it, but I ended up just being salty enough about it that I put it in my least favorites.
Hmm. I think that sometimes on this album, he leans a little bit too hard on the fact that I mean, like the album being called Palaces is pretty fitting because the songs have a grandiosity about them. They feel pretty expansive
Yeah,
in a lot of ways, and the production, like no matter how minimal the song is on its face, it kind of has a sense of
yeah.
importance to
No,
it.
I totally agree with
Which
that.
I think that that's a big selling point for this and his sound, but the issue is that that glossiness doesn't really save some of the stinkers from being
Right.
stinkers. Um, the big one that I think has been the elephant in the room is the song
This
"OnlyFans."
song is difficult. Like
It's nuts.
I so I have when we listen to things for this podcast, I try and be as dutiful as possible in like finishing something out to the end and like really giving things a chance and exploring things from different possible avenues. By the time I was 3 minutes into this song and I saw that there was still like another minute left, I was like, "Oh my god, kill me!" Oh, I'm sorry, it's only 2.5 minutes long. It's only two
It
and a half
just
minutes long.
feels it does
It
feel
feels like
insanely
an
long.
eternity because there's nothing going on the instrumental side. It's like this shit ass reggaeton beat where he tries to do the like delayed beat thing that he always does, but reggaeton is such a specific rhythm. Like it just doesn't work. Like it just comes across as a
Yeah.
mess. Where do I even fucking
It
start?
I said that the beat felt flaccid, haha.
It's another one that's like missing something. Like there's like, buddy, did you
Mhm.
forget to flip some switches before sending this to get
Yeah.
released?
And it's got, like, this really half-baked premise of, like, kinda talking about, like, oh, sex sells or whatever, but it feels to me, it feels like a ripoff of Dorian Electra's K.u.a remix,
Yeah.
where they're, like, going and they're like a sex hotline person,
Dorian Electra is a
but,
very
like,
good reference point for this. Like it's I don't even
Dorian
I
sells
don't
it on that track,
I'll
though.
say I actually don't even like Dorian Electra at all. I've really never heard a track from him that's impressed me.
Yeah.
But like even I will freely admit that this track is biting them and biting them hard and coming up
Yeah.
so short.
Yeah.
Um
So, I thought that the guest singer did not have the
okay,
theatrics to make the character
her,
developed or salacious
her name is
enough.
Verhen Maria. I've never fucking heard of her in my entire life, but as
Yeah.
I was listening to this track and just marveling at everything going on, I like clicked through to her Spotify page to see if there was like anything on here that I'd heard of. And one, no, there wasn't. B, she has some of the scariest album art I've ever seen in my entire life. I am I am serious when I say like the body horror on these is unbelievable. And I say this as someone who like Mutant by Arca is maybe my favorite album cover of all time, and that shit is scary. This is like there's 4 or 5 single covers here that are just like some of the most disturbing things I've ever seen put on the cover of an
Wow, you're
album.
right.
These are bizarre. Um so whatever this aesthetic is, it's so like this aesthetic is so distinctive and so interesting, scary as it is, that
Oh,
where is all this character in the music?
yeah.
She she opens the song and she's like, "I'm going to the sex shop. I'm going to the anime club. My phone number is 666 which is 4 too many times. If you just say 3
Yeah.
sixes, like the number of the beast, like that's fine." It just goes on for 4 more 6s. It takes up like
Yeah,
15
it feels like
seconds
the
of
last 4
song.
sixes are implied.
Oh my god. The outro of the song is just her sexily whispering subscribe, which I was
Yeah.
driving home from Savannah with my family in the car listening to this, and I was trying not to laugh. It's so bad. This is the worst thing Flume has ever put to record. I cannot believe this is on the album.
It's really bad. And because it's so, like because it is so underdeveloped and it feels like she's so afraid to, like, really commit, it comes off feeling really prudish.
Yeah,
And it's so strange because it's so anti her image and it's so anti the message of the song to do
I will
that.
say this song also comes right off the back of Jasper's song, which is so insane to me.
So
It just
jarring.
murders the pacing. And then after it, we go into Hollow, which is a song that I really liked. It's like he does the reggaeton thing again, but like good this time. Like the beat under the features Emma Louise, who's also really good on here. The beat is like this fucking overexposed reggaeton track that feels like it's like clipping in and out of like existing. It's like looking at a too bright light that's like blocking your whole view of the thing, and then they do that with like the reggaeton beat. It's a really cool effect. And like this song makes me wonder what the fuck was going on with OnlyFans? Like why? You
Yeah.
can do this thing and do it right. So why did you leave this other thing that's the same but like 100 million times worse right before it? I don't understand. It
Yeah.
makes no sense.
Something else that I found kinda odd was I did like the last 2 tracks. I liked
I also
Go,
liked
and I
Go. It
liked
reminded me of Jamie
Else's.
XX.
Oh, yeah. But I thought that something strange about that is that they're the last 2 things on the album, and yet they're the only 2 songs that use any kind of, like, field recording or naturalistic kinda samples.
I'm okay with that hypothetically. I do think it totally could have been developed more, especially with, like, the bird theming of this album.
Yeah, exactly.
Um,
Like, the bird does not feel earned until the last song, which is really
yeah,
strange.
yeah, no, that's true. I didn't really think about it like that, but I do agree. Um, you know what else is kind of weird about this record is that there's only for the entire thing, it's all women's voices until Damon Albarn comes in. Like there's no male guest vocalist until Damon at the very end, and he's only on it for like 1 second.
It's weird.
Yeah, I definitely feel like that's intentional. Like that's such a it was so noticeable to me that like there it was all women until Damon that like there's no rap features, there's no, like, male singer, like, Beck was on, Skin, Vince Staples was on Skin, I think, Raekwon was on Skin, like, there's a bunch of huge male artists on here, on that one,
Yeah.
and it's just Damon on this one, and, like, I like his song, but it definitely feels like an intentional choice to have him being the only male, like, feature or voice on the album, and then putting him last? So I don't know. It
Yeah.
feels intentional, but I don't know how to read that.
Yeah, this is it feels just like a kind of a weird album in the sense that when you finish it, I feel well, at least I felt like when I finished it, I had missed something.
Yeah,
Like, I was like, "That can't be it," right?
I
'Cause it just there felt like so many, like, half-baked
right.
songs tied in with ones that I thought were actually, like, very cool and well done. So I was like, "Okay, well, this is just what we're doing."
Yeah,
Okay.
I don't know. I totally agree with you, and I'll be honest, I think Skin is kind of the same way, except on Skin, the songs that are good are, like, incredible. Take a Chance with Little Dragon is, like, one of my favorite songs of that year. It is, like, that song makes me ascend every time I listen to it.
Yeah.
Tiny Cities with Beck is like an incredible song. His solo track Wallfuck, those are all like some of the best music in this genre for that whole, I would even say of the decade. Like they really get where they're trying to go with it. Um,
Yeah.
and this record just feels so directionless. Like he made some good songs and some bad ones and then just put them on an album.
Yeah, directionless is really a good word for it.
Like it's nice while it's
Yeah.
on, but am I gonna go back
Nah.
to the whole thing? No.
Yeah.
Shout out Kuchka on Escape. I liked her a lot.
Yeah.
That was a fun track.
That's basically all I have to say about this one.
Yeah, unfortunate. I hope he can bounce back because Hi This Is Flume was such a nice, like a nice surprise from a guy who I wouldn't expect to surprise me.
Mhm.
That I think he has more good albums in him, and I would be really sad if this is just kind of like the caliber of stuff he puts out now.
Yeah, I'd like to see him do something a little bit more conceptual and use stuff like the field recordings and like the really nice building kind of
Yeah,
elements on Jasper song because evidently he has it in him and he has the idea there. I just think he needs to elaborate on it more and it would be cool to see.
I would love for him to just commit to something.
Yeah. All right. And with that, we can move on. I'm glad to know that regardless of where I am in the world, I still end off every section by saying, "All right."
Inescapable, inescapable.
Yeah, it's just me at this point. All right, so our next one is going to be Andrew Bird with Inside Problems.
I mean, listen, what if the world goes spinning off its axis? And what if the moon begins to wane before it waxes?
So I liked this a
Yeah,
lot.
this was fun.
This felt very warm and welcoming to me. Um, and I thought that it felt very earnest as well. I didn't really have anything that I disliked.
There
But
there was one,
yeah.
Lone Didion did pretty much nothing for me.
Oh, really? I like that
Yeah,
one.
I think that outro could grow on me, but listening to it pretty late at night as like a cool down from the rest of the day, I wasn't super into it. I didn't really feel there was a ton of progression on it, and the beat kind of plodded for me. But apart from that, yeah, it was a good one.
I think, some of this is cool because it feels very much like a callback to his earlier
Yeah.
stuff. Like, a lot of these tracks, specifically the song "Fixed
Hmm.
Positions," it feels like a B-side from, Mysterious Production of Eggs.
I could
Um
totally see that. I really liked Faithless Ghost, because that one threw back to like really old Bird. Like that could have fit
Yeah,
anywhere on Weather Systems or the Bowl of Fire records. Um,
yeah,
yeah, no, I liked it. Jimbo Mathis was also on that one of Squirrel Nut Zippers. I like that they're still collaborating.
yeah. I think that this one is neat because as this I mean, obviously, it's called Inside Problems, this is a quarantine record.
Yeah,
So I think that it's cool because it has a sense of advancement and also reflection. Um I feel like he was stuck inside for quarantine and like other artists in that kind of same time period, like Arcade Fire before, kind of found themselves stripped back to like what they are as at their core as
yeah.
artists. There wasn't really pressure to do something totally new, more returning to what makes him him and creating something that really is comforting.
He
And I get that off of
he
this.
totally lets himself do some things on here that are out of the ordinary for him. Like as much as I did like my finest work yet, I think his style was starting to get a little bit predictable, and I totally respect him for like switching it up, exploring things like you said from like further back in his discog, and like introducing new elements into it too. Like he gets really pop on here at some points.
Mhm.
He is totally willing to like elongate the songs and let himself do extended fiddle outros just for like atmosphere. He's like switching up his delivery into like belting, and there's one song where he's just doing spoken word for half of it. Um, and yeah, like you said, it's a quarantine record. Like he's like turning inward for this, which like he's a
Mhm.
storyteller at his core. Like that's like a big factor of what makes his music like so special for me.
Yeah.
Is that he's always spinning these crazy ass stories, and like just delivering them with so much like I don't know, like grand
Class.
class and virtuosity, like just as like a folk yarn spinner. um
Yeah.
I don't think every like experiment is necessarily the greatest thing he's ever done here, but like I'm really happy with this album existing.
Yeah, me too. And I think that a couple of things that I really enjoyed about this was that he felt kind of unashamed. And one of the big ones that was that thesis was the title track. Um I liked the concept a lot of after quarantine being like
Yeah,
rebirthed from your home, just kind of leaving and being like, don't talk to me, I'm molting. And don't tell me that it's revolting. I'm like, yeah, we all changed. And I think that it's also additionally sweet that he starts talking about a
yeah,
she. And I don't think it's a coincidence that on the album cover he's showing the hand that has his wedding ring on
yeah.
it. Being inside with his wife, I think he definitely was talking a lot about her on this. Like on Atomized, he talks about um her bringing him low with her sighing and them having a fight and stuff like that. So I think that a lot of this is low key like about his
he
relationship.
also talks
And
he's also talked a lot in the hype for this album about fatherhood influencing this album a lot. Like he's
yeah.
been a dad for a while now, but he was talking a lot about how his son is now old enough to like have opinions on the things he plays around the house and the things that he's recording. So like a lot of this music he said was like influenced by his son's opinions on what was like good. So
Oh, that's
yeah,
sweet.
I really like that. And I also totally see the title track as a part of that. There's like English folk tune vibes on that I've
Yeah.
never like heard from him in the past. It goes through a lot of like cool builds. The outro is really good. And
Mhm.
yeah, the like molting and preening and breaching, shedding plumage imagery on this song is like viewing the match, like the process of like growing up, like his son as some kind of rebirth. Like it's so cool. This is a really good one.
Yeah.
Um,
I like that one a
he
ton.
said, there was a part on this song where he says, "Oh my god, I just got born," and I really think listening to it back again, there's parts of it where he's like kind of slurring that line. And I really do think he's saying, "My God was just born." Like he slurs that line into "My God was just born." And I don't know. I think there's so much cool imagery being thrown around on that song.
Yeah. I think that it's just a good one, and like I said, it's so earnest. That line of "Oh my god, I just got born," it feels like something someone would actually say outside of a song, you
Yeah.
know? It just is very stream of consciousness.
Underlands is amazing. That song's
Yeah,
so good.
Underlands is a really good
Yeah,
opener.
putting this as the opener is pretty bold. It'd kind of be a centerpiece on any other album of his.
Yeah. I liked that the female backing vocals too, they accentuate him really nicely as always.
I
Those have been kind of a constant for a while
I
in his music.
loved the backing vocals on this album, and I was trying to find out who they were because he always has such good backing vocals choices, and I
Yeah.
couldn't find them because I just don't have the liner notes in front of me. Um,
Mhm.
Jimbo Mathis on Faithless Ghost was the only one I could find. But yeah, I loved the backing vocals on this whole album. I thought they always added so much.
Yeah.
Uh,
I liked those a lot too. They kinda once again, as kind of a callback, they reminded me a little bit of, like, say, like, "Don't Be Scared" on Weather
yeah,
Systems. That's a really good example of that, and then also there's a couple of them on Mysterious Production that utilize that.
uh,
So I think that
Moses, a
it's just
pre-fame Moses Sumney pops up on Are You Serious, which makes me
yes.
pog every time I hear that song.
Yeah. So it's nice to see him doing what makes him really unique in a different way.
He uses his whistles on Underlands to like fucking do like a theremin noise, which makes me insane. Like he is
Yeah.
insane. Why does he do that? Um, he kind of reminds me of Kurt Vile on this song, just in his like vocal delivery and stuff.
Yeah, I can see that for sure.
Yeah,
It's so, the first 2 tracks I find are very loungy.
yeah,
They have, like, that kinda, like, classy swing to
yeah,
them, but it's so chill, and they move, they definitely have, like, movement to them.
yeah.
I feel like Lone Diddy moves.
I actually did write that
Um,
Underlands schmoves.
yeah, I said that it's got lounge, and I think that Lone Diddy kinda continues that
Mm-hmm.
lounge, and even the songs that are more classic sounding from him, they still have that cool groove to them. So I think that this has a nice sense of togetherness because of that.
My favorite song on the record was The Night Before Your Birthday.
Oh,
That
okay.
shit is delightful. This like his vocal on this is so good. He's really letting himself like let loose vocally in a way that he doesn't normally. Like he's like belting. He's really like giving it his all on
Yeah.
this one. Um the guitar cello like dual melody that comes in, it has like some classic rock vibes. Like I don't know. I was really
Mhm.
really into that one. I thought it was just
I
really
enjoyed
fucking good.
8 a lot too.
That one I'm less split on because I found it very meandering.
I think that 8 was cool. I liked I kinda liked that it meandered, honestly. That's just a quality about it that I thought was interesting. And I liked the lyrics quite a bit.
Okay,
They're quirky.
uh, now comes my horrible admission. Have you seen The Umbrella Academy? Okay,
No.
it's a show that I've been watching with my brother. I am
Yes.
not entirely sold on it. There's some stuff I like, there's some stuff I really don't like. And the lyrics on this fucking song, I couldn't read them in any other way than like a fucking Umbrella Academy AMV, I swear to God. Because
Whoa.
the characters are all numbered
Oh.
in that show. Like they all have numbers. And like I hate how much it works. Like I hate how much it works. There's
Well, now you have to make it.
no, I don't. I don't have to do that.
You have free
I
time.
do, and I will spend it doing things that are not that.
Oh my goodness. I remember one time when I was younger, I had the idea of, storyboarding a this is so funny, of storyboarding a Hollow Knight
Oh
AMV,
my god.
uh, to Ruler of Everything by Tally
I
Hall.
wanted to make. Are you sure you're not gay? Like, are you 100%? Um, so I can't even lie because when I was like 13, I wanted to make an AMV of Wide Awake by Katy Perry, but it was Homestuck.
Mhm.
So, you know,
Oh.
shout out, it would have been an Aradia AMV to any of our Homestuck listeners.
Shout out to Tumblr,
If
dude.
any of our listeners listening are former recovering Homestuck fans, sorry. Anyway,
Anyway.
I sense my days are numbered. I am unencumbered by fate. Don't you look so certain until you lay your burden down. Since my days are numbered, I feel unencumbered by fate. Don't you look so certain until you lay your burden down. The whole fucking Umbrella Academy is about the apocalypse is happening in a week every season.
Okay.
It is ridiculous the way I was reading this and being like, why does this work?
Annotated on Genius, don't be shy.
Yeah, good. I'm on the Genius right now. You should edit it and put that meaning in. Maybe he was referencing the Umbrella Academy on this one.
Maybe. It just fits too well. But I like the fact that he just never mentions the number 4 at all. But then he says, let's move past 7, and I'm like, okay, so just 4 does not get
7 causes the apocalypse, so that's why they're moving past her. And then and then 4 is dead. So is
this actually
I don't think so. I
Okay.
don't think so. And it's not 100% because 1 is the big monkey guy, not a woman, and he doesn't have a gun. So it's not like perfect, but like there's enough there that I was like absolutely crumbling in on myself while listening to this.
Maybe he and his family watched Umbrella Academy in quarantine.
Maybe. Anyway, to talk about stuff I liked on this album, Atomized, that was a really nice single.
Yeah.
The anti-boomerism turn from Andrew, highly appreciated. Stop blaming technology. Come on.
Exactly. I thought that one I liked it a lot more on the album than I did as a single.
I liked that one. I found it the same either way. The way I felt in reverse about Make a Picture. Because I thought that one was an okay single, but I didn't understand its placement on the album. If I have one critique about this album, I thought the sequencing was really strange. Lone Didion and Fixed Positions definitely felt like they should have been later on the album than they were for me. Like, I like most of the songs individually, but the quote narrative thread of the album, it doesn't make a ton of flow sense to me, which isn't really a problem with other Bird albums for me. Like, it feels strange to me that I even noticed it.
I didn't really notice. I don't know. And I kind of liked that track. I thought it was fun. I liked
the
it.
music video is really cute. There's a lot of cats in it.
I thought Stop and Shop sounded like a song that played in a Pixar movie when it was like a falling in love montage.
Except the song's about how much he fucking hates Republicans. It's great.
It's so good.
This is the one that he like goes spoken word mode on. It was really fun.
Yeah.
I really like this one. But to top off my liking of this song, Stop and Shop is real, and it's my local grocery chain here in Connecticut. Man is really just taking down the New England conservatives. We love to see it.
Yeah. Where is Bird from?
I am not sure. I do not know. I think East Coast sounds right. I'm
putting my bets on Pittsburgh.
I'm gonna vibe check Maine.
All right, I'm looking it up. Andrew Bird. Lake Forest, Illinois.
Illinois.
That's crazy. There's a place in California called Lake Forest. I was like, Pog? And then I was like, oh.
Yeah, he's from Illinois. Where are the Squirrel Nut Zippers from? Because that's where I would consider him like based for the majority of his like early career.
Well, he is based.
Well, he is based, yes. Squirrel Nut Zippers are from Chapel Hill, North Carolina. So yeah, currently based in New Orleans. So yeah, Eastern-ish.
We both failed the vibe check.
Yeah, we did. That's okay.
We'll get him next time, Tiger.
Can I make an insane comparison with Never Fall Apart?
Oh dear.
Fun. Like,
you know what?
We Are Young type fun.
Yeah. I see that.
Classier than that, but there's some serious like late 2000s crossover mainstream indie pop vibes on this one. I don't know. I'm kind of into it.
Which makes sense because I don't like that sound, and that was probably my least favorite track on the album.
Oh no,
it was kind of a lackluster closer.
Yeah, I don't really care about that sound either, but I was into this one. I liked it.
Yeah, I thought it was kind of mediocre as a closer. I just didn't like it there. Maybe if it was somewhere else on the album, I wouldn't have minded it. But as a closer, I was like, meh.
I don't think it made much sense as a closer either. You
can do it.
But it was pretty good. I liked it.
I think that's about all I have to say about this.
Yeah, I would rank this one kind of somewhere in the middle of his discog for me. Like, it's not the best thing he's ever done, but it is certainly far from the worst. There's some real highlights, but I think it's overall just kind of slightly not as good as My Finest Work Yet, and not nearly as good as Are You Serious? It's funny because you were super into this one, and my girlfriend wasn't super sold on it, and we've listened to a lot of Andrew Bird together. And so it's funny that I just wind up kind of somewhere in the middle between you two on it.
Yeah, I personally didn't think that Are You Serious was bangers front to back. I have a lot of songs on there that I really, really enjoy, but the other ones I just completely forget about.
It's not my favorite, but I do really like it.
I prefer this to that album.
Nothing
personally.
I don't think anything will ever top Break It Yourself for me. That record does something to me.
I still have to listen to that one and Noble Beast. Those are the ones that I have.
Noble Beast is also very, very good. Anything like mid-career Bird is like absolutely like I go to space. Eye on Eye on Break It Yourself makes me go insane. Puma on Are You Serious is like top 5 bangers of all time. It's good. I love Andrew Bird.
I still have of his is still I have a series for that album.
This guy like deserves the moon. I love him.
I wish he was my dad.
Yeah, he is my dad.
Musical father, Andrew Bird.
Yeah.
All right, let's go ahead and go on to our next one. Boldy James and Real Bad Man with Killing Nothing.
A big dollar, that's a Miller Lite. Quick to shoot him off the sky while he's still in flight. I make a nigga run the jewels like I'm Killer Mike. From the streets to the stage to the street. Be on the east like I'm Dave, raising my niece. Because her daddy upstate, caged in the clink. Did the best I can.
I would like you to start on this.
I think Boldy James is incapable of making a bad album. I loved this. This is I think it was really interesting because these two have worked before. They have an album together called Real Bad Boldy. I think it's interesting that this album is kind of split into 2 halves, and the more general first half kind of could have been like Real Bad Boldy leftovers, and then in the second half it like coalesces into this like Latin guitar influenced sound that Boldy just like, oh, he's cold-blooded. I love him so much. His voice just like brings things out of me.
I did like, okay, so I liked the majority of this album. Quite a bit actually. I was listening to it, I was like, this is really well produced. The flows are really nice. I actually really enjoyed the Crime Apple feature.
Oh my god, I love Crime Apple!
I thought that was really good.
If you're not on Crime Apple, listeners, you should get on Crime Apple because he is the funniest fucking guy working in this like lane of like underground rap. What's his line on that song where he's like, "Looking Anglo-Saxon, how I brought the sack in, that's a white privilege." And it like talking about cocaine. It's so good. It's so good.
Yeah, he adds like a really nice element of just like it becomes really jovial and like fun, and I don't know, it feels cool.
That's white like the beard on the coach cake, the papago dancing on my dick until it pulsated.
Yeah, that one was crazy. I was
so
like, okay. I think that he does sound like intense about it too.
Yeah.
Like he's really, the presence is there. I also thought the sampling on Ain't No Bon Jovi was really elegant, and the flow was really cool. I liked that
was my favorite on my first listen through.
Yeah.
I thought he was like, it sounded like he was like doing that with a jazz band. Like I think that song would go crazy live.
Yeah, the little cymbal hits throughout it, they added so much. I really like that.
The stretch of Ain't No Bon Jovi through BoJack Miller Lite through Sig Sawyer through Seeing Visions is like, I went to heaven for those 4 tracks. Like it was so good.
I liked those ones a lot too. I thought Seeing Visions was a little bit goofy. As far as like the hook, just like what did he say? He was like, he's like taking his trippy snacks. It's just kind of funny to me. Like just hearing somebody talk about edibles that way makes me giggle.
It's very good.
I'm like, it's because I can see the bag in my head. You know, they all look the same. It's like a Sour Patch Kid with like the little like swirly eyes, and it's got the worst graphic design you've seen in your life. And then it just like, you have to pay like $15 for like a pack. And then you barely get there, and then
Boldy's
2 hours later, you're dying.
I just want to say Boldy's not paying $15 for this. Like he is getting it for whatever price he wants. That one hit of like brass right at the end of Seeing Visions is like a tease. It is like a sexual tease. I was like, oh my god, you can't edge me like that and then just end the song. It was so, I kind of like it because of that, but like it was so good.
The one that I didn't love was cash
that
transactions.
Was also my least favorite.
Oh my god. I thought that it was a little bit too like dealing drugs is awesome. I just didn't like that.
I just found that the beat was nothing. Is that the one where he's like rap game, like I'll never love the rap game more than the drug game or something?
Yes.
I don't know. I kind of dig that sentiment because it is pretty grim, and I don't think Boldy ever shies away from like saying grim truths on his songs. But I thought the beat was nothing on that one, and the feature from Knowledge the Pirate, who I've never heard of in my life before this album, was okay, but it didn't really leave much of an impression on me.
Yeah.
He had the one line about the traffic guard that I really liked. I'm like a crossing guard directing traffic. Like, that's pretty good.
Yeah. And I thought that it was kind of funny, like his stories of like the people who he was dealing to and stuff like that. But it also, I don't know, stuff like that. I do have this is so like bleeding heart liberal of me to say, but I have a hard time with songs like that where it's talking about like how great it is to deal and stuff like that, because I can't help but think about the impact that like dealing cocaine might have on some person who's like trying to get over an addiction, stuff like that. I don't know. I just have a hard time with stuff like with the sentiment sometimes of being like I'm on top of the world, I'm dealing drugs, because I'm like this isn't like some of this is like blood money. I don't know. I feel weird about that. So sometimes that bothers me, but it also kind of irked me that there was some of that like gratata type ad libbing.
Knowledge did that, right? Not Boldy.
I think so. Yeah, just like the scooter. I was like, okay, I'm cool.
I really like the rap name Knowledge the Pirate. I think that's really funny. But I think the best part of his whole verse is when he ends he ends his verse by saying "fuck rapping, pirate." And like
that is funny. That is
so funny. Like out of
I think you're just biased towards pirates.
I am. It's funny that this guy did nothing for me because I would want to root for him because of my pirate obsession. I don't even know if our listeners know that about me, but I'm obsessed with pirates and always have been.
Her thesis film.
Yeah, it is. It is. Water Under the Bridge, the opener. This is like Dialect Light, like the drone of it. Like it really reminded me of that album that we listened to.
Yeah. I thought that one was, I liked the opening, and then about until Game Time, I kind of zoned out. I did like Game Time.
I also really like the headshot buzzer beater, bitch. It's Game Time. That was really good. That like hacking synth on the chorus on Game Time is very, very cool.
Yeah. I would say that Game Time, Medellin, and Ain't No Bon Jovi are probably my absolute favorites that I came away with. And I was like, those are bangers.
Medellin.
Is it Medellin?
I would assume so. It's Spanish, right? Yeah, it's a city in Colombia. Yeah, Medellin. Yeah. Oh yeah, I was actually going to bring up before when you were talking about cash transactions and like his whole like I love the trap shit more than the rap shit. On 190 Bands, that was also one of my favorite tracks on the album because it definitely goes into that like really old school like brass based boom bap beat and then turns into like this old school posse shout out track like Jay-Z used to do. But so to compare Cash Transactions and 190 Bands, like I think honestly that Cash Transactions isn't really saying that the trap shit is better than the rap shit. In my interpretation of it, at least, he's not saying that's a good thing because he has the line at the end about like, how do you hate me? I'm the wrong one to be jealous of. You thought that it was this. You thought this was that, but it was never love. So I definitely feel like it's kind of a self-indictment. Like he's saying like he's admitting this rather than like confidently saying it, and I say that because 190 Bands does the posse shout out track, but basically everybody he shouts out is dead, which is like the most haunting shit over this beat. Like, it's like this bombastic beat, and he's doing his like cold monotone thing that he always does, talking about like all his dead friends. It is so like hollow and like visceral feeling that like I think he knows that this is not like he'll never glorify this. Have you listened to Manger on McNichols?
No, but you told me to save it, so I saved it.
You should. It is crazy ass. I think that album is kind of what you may have been looking for out of TPAB, TBH.
I would like to know, because I still have yet to go back to TPAB. I'm sorry. But
sorry, Mr. Punk.
Sorry, Mr. Punk.
But yeah, no, that album is, he's always in this same mode. Like, he only has one subject matter he does. There's only one like rapping mode he's ever in.
Mm-hmm.
But like, I feel like kind of because of that, he can ride anything he wants and always sound cool. And on that one, he does like this crazy orchestral jazz thing. Some of the wildest like rap beats I've ever heard. That's also the one where he goes the most in depth into like the emotional and societal effects that dealing has had on Detroit. It's a really, really amazing record. So
yeah, I probably should check that out.
Yeah, if you didn't get that out of this, then for sure you'll probably get it out of that.
Those are my thoughts, so I would like to hear the rest of yours.
Yeah, I did like this album a lot. Water Under the Bridge, I said, was really good. All the Way Out has a really groovy beat. I don't think the verses are anything really special, but the hook on that song is so good that I just kind of find myself with him by the end of it anyway. Open Door is also nothing special, but I think it was a good choice for a single. Rome Streets and Stove God Cooks. Good God. Are really good on that one. You remember Stove God because he was really annoying on the Conway album for no reason, or on the on the Benny album. But
yeah,
like,
I remember. Well, he was on both, but yeah, he was. I just like his name, but he was like, why?
This is proof that he can be okay in the right circumstances. Yeah, Ain't No Bon Jovi is crazy. Bojack Miller Lite is crazy. There's no listed feature on Bojack Miller Lite, but there's somebody else on it, and the delivery of the two of them on the hook, they have such good chemistry. Like, they really feel like old friends. And then the closer, Killing Up, the title track, he sounds like he's smiling while he's rapping this song. And like, I don't know, I kind of loved it. He lets himself get a little looser with his flow on this one. I don't know if it's an incredible closer. I think Seeing Visions might have been a better one, but I really, really liked that song. Yeah, I don't know. This is just another huge W for Boldy to me. I don't think he misses.
It seems, I mean, I thought that as far as like production and putting aside, like, this is just kind of not the style of rap that I gravitate towards normally anyway. So I think that the fact that I was able to really come through it and enjoy a lot of what was going on was a W. And I really appreciated the ones that I liked. I really, really liked. So maybe this is going to be a part of a new awakening for this style for me.
I think Boldy's totally a good gateway rapper towards this style, because like, if you see his name on a track, you know exactly what he's going to be doing. Like, he does a thing, and he does that thing amazingly every time.
Yeah.
But like, if you see him on a track, like, you know what it's going to sound like on his end, and it's just like the beat that's going to be the discerning factor. He was on Ethiops too, and he killed it.
Yes, I do remember that, dude. I keep going back to that.
It's so good.
Oh, I'm gonna bring it up later in the episode.
Me too. Sadly, I'll bring it up later in the episode.
Let's bring up now something that I think you're gonna have a lot to say about.
I'm about to rock it off. I'm about to go ape.
Which is Everything with Raw Data Feel.
This album has gripped me by the throat, and it has not let me go. So like, we were just talking about Ethiops. I don't know if this is like straight up a better album than Ethiops necessarily, but it is like swooping in like a bat creature to claim the #1 spot for the year for me right now, because there's nothing this year that I've just wanted to have on loop more. It's so replayable. Every fucking song on this thing has the ability to get jammed in your head. This is like, oh my god, it's so good. Like, I had no idea what to expect from the singles, and they delivered so hard. I'm a huge Everything stan. Get to Heaven is one of my favorite albums. Like, I say things are one of my favorite albums ever. Get to Heaven is probably, after Plastic Beach, my favorite album ever. And I liked both A Fever Dream and Reanimator. Like, I liked them, but neither really blew me back the way that Get to Heaven and Man Alive have. This is 100% their best work since then. Injecting all this like 80s alternative and weird synth pop into their sound was like exactly the kind, for me at least, of like stylistic twist they needed to like come back to the heights of Get to Heaven. And because I'm me, I'm just loving the refocus on hooks and production and groove. It's way more willing to lock into a rhythm than Reanimator, and it's just all the better for it for me.
I had a bit of a different experience with this
Absolute
album.
wailing, huge sad.
Yeah, Sophie's been bummed because I even listened to Get to Heaven as a prelude to this to try and like contextualize myself. And I did not come away loving it, which is sad because you are not my only friend who wants me to love that album, but I just can't do it. I don't know. It's just not for me.
The more I think about it, I feel like Arc might be more of your Everything album, but we'll see. We can talk about that later.
I mean, when Man Alive came out, I tried that one too.
When it came out?
Yeah.
What, girl, what?
Yeah.
I don't think so.
Reanimator?
Oh, you said Man Alive.
Oops, I meant Reanimator.
I was going to say, I was 10 years old when Man Alive came out, so you were 8.
Yeah, no, I meant Reanimator, my bad. Yeah, no, I did Reanimator when it came out, and I was like, "No, that's not for me." And so then this one, I was
Reanimator is just very Radiohead.
Yeah, and I was like, maybe this one, because I thought that the like AI kind of concept was really interesting, and I liked Teletype quite a bit. That is one of my favorite on this album.
It's so good.
But sadly, I just think I don't get them. I don't know if it's the production, because I feel like the production's like a little squeaky in some areas in a way that I don't love.
They do squeak their guitars.
The really kind of campy lyrics, which normally isn't like a problem for me, but this is serious camp.
I can chalk any lyrical moments on here that I don't like up to the AI, so I can look past some of that.
Oh my goodness. Or it might be the vocals. I don't love his voice.
That is the most common, like, sorry, I can't get into this band with them, is the voice.
I really don't know if it's that, because to me, it sounds like Richard Dawson does pop, which kind of just makes me want to listen to Richard Dawson's track Two Halves instead. But I thought this was a well-made album. The production hits where it needs to, and the songs have fun like movement and like momentum going on. Personally, my favorites were kind of where it slowed down. Jennifer was a standout track to me,
amazing.
and I liked Leviathan a lot too.
I also use the outro to Leviathan for my D&D campaign.
Wow, I should just be in your D&D
Maybe
campaign.
you should.
But I thought Leviathan could have been trimmed down a little bit in length.
I loved that drone halfway through. I thought that was so cool.
Yeah, I don't know. I thought that it was cool, but I got a little tired of it about halfway through that drone section. As for the stuff that's more in line with like I think their normal sound, my favorites were Teletype. I thought the build up in the back half was really nice, and it accentuated the AI sounds really nicely. I thought it was a good opener. I liked Hex.
Hex is cool.
The rhythm.
Hex is the most classic everything song on here.
Yeah. And the guitar that pairs up with the vocals on the chorus was nice. I think My Computer was the most effective hook for me, other than Teletype.
My Computer is like, you're talking about camp. That one is camp.
Yeah, like you're in love with the future. I don't know why. I think that works well. I liked that. But that was like the only thing that really grabbed me on it. And a little bit on Software Great Man, which to me sounds a little bit like 15 Step by
It does.
Radiohead with,
No,
like, the clappy
I can see
percussion.
that.
Yeah. And it's, like, dampened a little and, like, accented with those jittery synths. It really feels similar to me. Um, my biggest gripe with it is that I think that there's a good amount of fat on it that could be trimmed.
Such as?
Like Leviathan, I feel like that could be trimmed down a little
Okay.
bit. There are some stretches on the album that I felt were unmemorable, at least to me.
Mhm.
Um, kind of the opening of the album, other than Teletype, the run of I Wanna Love Like This, Bad Friday, and Pizza Boy did nothing for
Bad
me.
Friday is
Um,
the one that's been the most controversial as far as I can tell, because it is very stripped back synth pop for them, and it also sounds like
yeah.
fucking Die Young by Kesha. Like, just the melody of it is pretty much the same as Die Young by Kesha, which is really
That's really
funny.
funny.
I actually just love the lyrics on that one because
They just interpolated that song and really ran with
I hope
it.
she gets a writer credit and bonanza dollars for it.
That'd be really funny.
I love the lyrics on that one because he's talking about like him getting in drunken fights is such a common occurrence that he literally can't remember what day the last one happened to him.
Yeah.
I hate to admit that I do love I Wanna Love Like This. That one I wasn't sold on that one at first too, but it has grown on me so fucking hard. Probably my favorite single now. I feel it coming in. You're the one who takes me there. Like, I want to yell this at him live. I feel.
Yeah.
That like just.
And I already know that Pizza Boy you love that track.
I don't love that track. It's probably my least favorite of the singles, but I'm less like down on it than you. I still like it.
Yeah, I was like telling Sophie that I wasn't huge on this album, and you were like, "But he's a pizza boy."
I was being goofy because that's
Yeah.
the clearest like bad lyric on the album. But
Yeah.
I was joking before when I was like, I can chalk up any lyrics I don't like to the AI. I'm like 99% sure that the whole chorus on this one is pure AI because it just sounds like the kind of things that AIs spit out.
Yeah.
Is it fun on your own? Just you and your mobile phone. That doesn't make any sense. I don't think that song really clicks for me until he starts like really going like you like halfway through.
The waveform on that's gotta be crazy.
But I am into it. I am into it.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. My experience with this kind of boils down to me being like middling on all of it, and then like
Sag.
every 4 songs or so I would have a moment with
Yeah.
it. But I wish I loved this so I could like spaz about it with you, but I can't. I do not love
There
it.
was one L on this album for me, and it was Born Under a Meteor, which I definitely felt like kind of murdered the momentum after Kevin's Car.
Yeah.
Something about that song reminds me of like the worst They Might Be Giant songs. It's just kind of grating. It's sad that they had to take that one big L at the end of the record because I definitely think that fucking Software Great Man is hurt by it coming into it. Yeah. Even if I do mostly like that song, although I also think it's not the strongest closer possible.
Mm-hmm.
I'm
glad that I'm not crazy with the 15-step comparisons. I was listening to it and I was like, sounds like
there's always one moment on everything album where they just decide to do Radiohead for a song. And it was Leviathan and Software Great Man for this one. It was a Monstering on Reanimator. 2 for Nero on Man Alive. Like you can point at any of them. There's always a moment.
Yeah. It's funny.
Yeah, it is funny. What do you think of Shark Week?
I did not write anything about it. As far as I remember, I think that one was a little bit cheese for me.
The thing about this song is that he's Obama in the streets, but he thinks he's Osama in the sheets.
Yeah, that one I was like, wow. What a lyric.
That made me go insane, and he delivers it with so much confidence. Just like
he's like, yeah, this is factual about this person.
This is good. Is that Kevin in the car? He's a cabbage like me.
Yeah, the lyrics do take this like crazy kind of dreamlike turn where it's like what is being said here, but it's a little bit like we've talked about. I just kind of made this connection. We've talked about New Long Leg by Dry Cleaning.
Yeah.
Being like an album where you listen to it and it feels like a conversation that you would have with somebody in a dream.
Yeah.
but like one half of
No,
it.
Shark Week is
And
that.
I love that about that album. But this one, I think that the fact that she delivers it so
Monotone.
uninterested, like she doesn't have to sell you on this. You're just talking with her,
Yeah,
you know?
he gives it his all.
But this one, he's selling it, and I think that the fact that it went from like absurd and surreal to like camp and performative is the issue for me.
Cut Up is also very, very camp. And like that's kind of the other side of 80s alternative from like the new wave of Metroland is Burning and Jennifer, where it's like fucking Duran Duran and New Order and like insane disco. I don't know, it's the kind of cheese that I'm really all in on. Like I just love it. Also on Hex, I love the lyrical blurring between hex as a spell and also like a color hex code, like in computer terms. The guitar solo goes hard. The fucking lyrics about like fertilizing your eggs is so gross. There's like all the sewage shit where he's talking. It's like the callback to Arch. There's a lot of callbacks to their old stuff on this one, which I really
really?
All the stuff about sewage on Hex is, I'm pretty sure, a callback to Arch Enemy on Reanimator. There's the like whatever line is that's something from Arc. I think I don't remember. That's an Arc thing. There's a reference on Shark Week too. He says the Blast Doors on Shark Week, which is, there's a song called Blast Doors on Get to Heaven. Yeah, no, it's just cool. I really liked pretty much. I can't gush enough about this. I could talk more, but I can't. We have to move on. But I could talk about this album for a million 100 years. It's really, really good. Jennifer is like, it's like part Arc and part like pure Cure worship. Like the chorus is such a cool come down. Metroland is Burning I didn't even talk about, but like the disaster happening on the lyrics and then the guitar being so unsettling on this song, and also bringing in the weird drones for this one. It's so climactic. Like, even if it does kick back into the lead melody at the end, the whole thing feels like the payoff for that like cool bridge about Kevin, can you imagine it? I don't know. I
would say this one, like, the worst that could happen is you have a neutral experience, like me. And even though I had a neutral experience, I was still like smiling at some of the lyrics. Like it's a fun album in general. So I would say you can't really lose much by giving it a try.
Yeah, I this is my pick for the week. This one gets the gold star from Sophie.
Yeah. We will be hearing a clip of one of these songs either at the beginning or the end of the podcast. Can't remember which one it is. Okay. Oh, that's different. I said okay instead of all right.
Yeah. Oh my god, whoa, character development.
Dude, paradigm shift. All right. Our next album is going to be Fax Gang with Dataprism.
I can't accept, I can't believe, I can't think what you've done to me. Why can't I be doing away when I wanted to leave? Sudden boxes pack the bags between the spaces where we.
This was good. Not as like confident or unified as I would have liked, I think, but good all around.
Yeah, I don't have a ton to say about this on like a really deep level, but I thought it was pretty effective for what it wanted to be. I like that really like electronic, heavily affected kind of rap. I think that it's interesting.
It is cool.
And this feels like Cloud Rap's cousin with ADHD or something. like it just is. It's just doing a lot. And considering that I am beginning to get drained, I have been listening to that Young Lean mixtape.
No, come back.
No,
come back.
I have been. I'm becoming steadily less
Megan,
clogged. The Drano is slipping between the cracks. It's kind of bad. My brother texted me the other day. He's like, "Which of us is going to be quicker to be drained?" Because I like Crest and you like Stardust. I was like, "Oh man, it's happening." But yeah, this was, considering I'm getting into that, I think that this did kind of scratch a bit of an itch for me.
I will say I don't enjoy this on the same level that I think Drain is supposed to be enjoyed, because like this is really maximalist. Like they are this is another Brick of Sound type album.
Definitely.
And I think it is really cool in that. So I am constantly kind of feeling sensory overload with this one instead of sensory underload. So this is their sophomore album. They had a record in 2020 called Ethernet that I loved. I also really liked it, but I also had a few issues with it. And I think that album is slightly better overall, but there's higher highs on this. In the sense that they're pushing themselves a little more. Like, there is a lot of rap on this, as always, but they're also introducing a lot of like indie pop and shoegaze and almost like pop punk into this at certain points.
Yeah.
Um,
when you say like pop punk on it, it's like almost the kind of like crackhead marriage of two genres that shouldn't fit. That I think makes me think of Doritos and Fritos.
Yeah, no, it is just throwing pop punk through a vocoder on Reprieve.
Yeah.
I think Reprieve is probably one of my favorite songs of the year so far.
Yeah, I like that one a lot.
There's like a solid, like, it puts me over the top from liking and being interested in where Fax Gang will go to like being willing to call myself a fan of these guys. Like, that kind of like passion and earnestness is such a cool fit for music this synthetic, and I hope they do more stuff like this in the future.
Yeah, I liked this quite a bit. My favorite tracks were "See You Through the
That one goes
Prism,"
hard.
"Pendulum," "Sparks," "Reprieve," and "90 Degrees."
Sparks is, if not Reprieve, probably my favorite. It's like borderline breakbeat with the speed those hi-hats are going.
Definitely. Yeah, that's something about this album is that it plays with the pace, I would say.
Yeah, totally. I loved the sequencing of this album. This album is really, really well sequenced. Even the songs that I didn't like as much were placed really well on the album, such that they set up for the tone of the next one. Like, I didn't like Spiral Pierce at all. I think that's probably the worst Fax King song I've heard. The vocal is kind of not there. And I don't think the Unfilters vocals, even if they were good, work too much with this style. That one just needed some more time in the oven, but it's positioned right before Reprieve, and Reprieve comes right out of it, and it gets me so amped for Reprieve. Like, it's just a really good sequencing choice, even if I don't love the song.
I think that one of the tracks that I thought was a little bit weak that led into a really good one was Guardian Angel with Pendulum. I didn't love Guardian Angel. I thought that it was just a little bit nothing.
Yeah, I didn't feel anything about that
between See You Through the Prism and Pendulum, which I thought Pendulum had a really nice beat going. And I liked the lyrics on that one quite a bit too.
I did like Guardian Angel, but I don't think it's significantly different from anything they've done before. So it was just like pretty good for me.
So I liked it as a bridge between those two tracks, but as an individual, I wouldn't listen to it.
I totally agree. I also love the transition between Space Requiem and 90 Degrees. Like, I wasn't sold by Flood either, which I think was maybe just my dislike of cooldown tracks coming in. But like, I just wasn't sold on that one, but it does a good job like bringing the mood down. And then Space Requiem does this really good job of building the tension. And then 90 Degrees just explodes. It's so cathartic. The transition between those two is so good. I love it.
I didn't write it. I am a little bit split on Four Walls with Paranoid.
I loved that. I was really psyched on that.
I don't know if I was just like tired by the end of that, because keep in mind I was listening to this while I was getting ready for work.
Okay.
So I might have just been like getting into like work brain. So I should give it another try. But I did. I dug the most of it. There was just something about it that hadn't clicked with me at the time. So I'll give that one another try, but I think I would probably like it if I went back to it.
I was really curious how he was going to integrate into that track. I was kind of expecting just a vocal feature, but they really like directly smashed together his sound and their sound. Like, there's elements in the mix that are both really clean and really fucked up by the vocoder.
Yeah.
And his voice, the filter that he usually uses on his voice, fits right into their like world. I really love that one. And then at the very end, when he takes the mic alone, like, I loved it. I thought that was an amazing closer. Definitely one of the most creative things they've ever done.
Yeah. So this one I would say would be one to check out, if only to just know the name and kind of be on it early, because I haven't heard anybody really giving these guys any hype.
Yeah, it's a neat space for them to be working in. I haven't really heard anything else really that much like it. And I'm very curious to see where they will go. They almost have like kind of a Brockhampton energy, where it's just like a bunch of friends making weird shit in a basement, like that they're putting their hearts on their sleeves with. Like I really like it for that.
Are we good to move on?
I'm good to move on.
Okie dokie. So next album, I cannot believe we have like 5 left.
Yeah, so this is our this is the Hot on the Presses Super Turbo Mega Presses Homo edition. Because this is coming after we had to take a month break for various graduation and moving and job reasons. We're treating you to a smorgasbord of content with this one.
Yeah. So our next one is going to be Elucid with I Told Bessie.
Passing the moon like round robin. Doom gospel spell, I spoke silent. None shall prevail, I come try this. Spook scientific, divinely lifted. I be listening mostly, keep it close to me. Not what it is, but what it's supposed
to be.
Yeah. So immediately my thought was that I'm fine with the beats, but I didn't love his flow.
It's
something about it kind of bothered me.
It's pretty good, I guess.
To me, I guess the way that he says things, it feels like he's not really saying to me as much as he thinks he is.
Yes,
it feels a little self-important, and the flow isn't carrying anything to me.
So this, if you liked Ethiops and you don't really care to listen to like read into it too much, this might scratch that itch for you. But Bessie,
it's so much more hollow.
The Bessie on the title is his grandmother, and there's like a few vocal passages from her at various points on the album, and it like sort of gestures at being more personal in the lyrics, but like it seems to constantly evade really saying anything by habit. Like he says a lot of words on this album, and I can like discern meaning out of like 5% of them. It seems really free associative, which like is not a bad thing, but it feels like with appearances from guys like Billy, who's on like half of this fucking album.
Yeah, which is definitely, he shot himself in the foot.
Yeah, it's like you want me to read into this. Like you want me to be like piecing this together the way that I am with a Billy record. And it's just not happening for me.
I thought that there were some areas too where just in the way that even he was speaking, he reminded me of other artists that I like more. Especially on Bunny Chow. There was a way that he was hanging on the words in his flow that reminded me a little bit of Aesop Rock, the way that he like his flow is super sticky.
I feel like
he's like hanging on things.
I feel like if you said that to Elucid, he would be so mad. Like I just feel like he'd be so pissed off if you said that to him.
Yeah. But it's just the way it felt. Like I felt like he was trying really hard to hang on to those words and like make it have that really like the flow where he feels like it's really tense and super tight. But it just did not work for me.
Bunny Chow was one of the only ones where I was able to kind of glean a little bit of meaning from it. I think it's trying to tell the story of him like misbehaving as a child because he doesn't understand rules, and then comparing that to like laws as an adult. But that is a read. Like that's not what the song is saying to me. That is me like reading it. And I don't know. I like the beat on this one a lot. It's like a 90s gangsta beat, but kind of minimalist.
Yeah, I didn't write anything down about
There's
it.
a lot of elements in the mix that are there, but turned down really low. Like there's a bass line, but it's really hard to hear. I was kind of into that. I also like the hook where he's like, "What happened to yesterday? I've been warping." I thought that was cool. But yeah, I wasn't mondo impressed by it.
Yeah. The first one that I noted the beat on was Old Magic. Because I thought that the stilted flow that he has sort of suits a jumpy beat like that.
He's doing a reggae toast, which I thought was kind of fun. Cracked teeth gathered in a pyramid, Black Street mandatory sentences limitless, protected from predatory denizens. They want to skin me alive, exercise the innocence, peak terror, drinking blood of the young and unwilling, straddle the ceiling, feeling thick with mood, my fist refused to have its palm red. I don't know, just cool imagery.
It is cool, and I wish that it was being said by somebody else who was going to string that with something that actually meant something. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I feel that.
There was also, he did have like a couple of lines where I was like, what the fuck is happening? Which mostly was on sardonyx for me.
Oh my god.
The part where he says blowing kisses to my ops in the metaverse, I was like, "Dude, come on." And then there was the whole line about, like it sounded like he was talking about having sex with, like, a woman who's 9 months pregnant.
What?
Yeah, where he was talking about entering a woman after 9 months, and she was, like, wet and ready, and I was like,
Oh my
"Dude,
god.
come on."
My favorite, like, really difficult lyrical moments were on Jumanji, which I thought Jumanji had the best beat on the album. Like, it runs on this jazz drum lute that kind of, like, gains and loses elements as it goes on with these weird synths underneath it. Billy shows up at the end, and I really like his appearance, but it feels like a weird interlude because the beat just totally drops out and changes to a saxophone for his appearance, so I don't know what the fuck was up with that. But there's one line on Jumanji where Elucid just says, "International beef thief," and it's not connected to anything else, and I love it. And then he says, so this is all like an oral sex metaphor. He says, "My tongue burn hot metallic on the hole where dagger poke. Lick me where you wanna, the seed'll make you choke." Ew. Ew.
Yeah.
Ew. That's horrible. That's so bad. Yeah, I hated it.
Can I read the part from Sardonyx that I was talking
go
about?
For it.
So, he says I'm sorry, I'm just reading these. He says, "Backwoods" with a Z.
That's Billy Woods' record label, Backwoods.
Yeah. "I'm from the era of the animal thug, sniff pussy. She suck my thumb before me member. Me member."
She sucked my thumb before me member.
I've been floating.
Okay, wait, hold on.
Floating.
Somebody call Knowledge the Pirate.
I know. I can't. I've been floating since September. Month 9, wet enough to enter. Blue movie gal, no censor.
What?
Yeah. And then later on in there, he says, "It's all math, but the only numbers, but the numbers only just half the height. I splash who I like. I'm on the half with my patterns clashing. Free nationalistic, blowing kisses at my ops in the metaverse. Gorilla biscuits till my head'll burst.
Okay.
Plans of the spirit, you better work."
That's really, really something. It's funny because I wrote down a lot of lines from this song because overall I loved this beat, and I thought Pink Sifu, who I'm normally like kind of hot or cold on, I can take or leave him on most tracks, I thought he demolished this beat. He comes in, like, the beat is like, it's like a weird Saxon xylophone thing, and Pink Sifu comes in and he sounds like this slimy cartoon villain's minion. He's so good.
Yeah.
And then Woods has this line where he has this passage where he says, "Tempranillo with the corkscrew, flatbread soak up the pork juice, affordable housing, but I got an inkling what it cost you. I can see it in the eyes of your oldest. I can see you just going through the motions, feel the coldness. Hop off the private jet, walk into the rotors, that's new money. Old money, mummified corpses trying to stuff it in their coffins. She said, get the bag, then you can have me. It's no time for Splenda daddies. She need the bag like a caddy." And that whole thing, that entire passage, blows anything Elucid does on this entire album. So out of the water. Like, that verse is unreal, and Elucid just cannot keep up. It's bizarre.
Yeah, putting him all over this whole thing when Billy Woods has just stuff like that was like, he didn't even see fit to put it on the album that he just released. Like, just having that in the back to just rip out here is bonkers.
He is literally on every other track at the end of this. Like, at that point, why not just make another Armand Hammer album? Like, those are good.
Yeah.
Elucid's one line where he says, I did like on Sardonyx, "Revival like those I admired, give me fire water. I'm of the highest order, pouring liquid iron out the sky, you guys just kinda sorta." I thought that was fun, but...
Yeah, that one's fun too, but then it makes me think about the liquid iron. It makes me think about, putting your tongue where metal's hot.
Oh no! Maybe he's talking about,
like,
maybe that's a veiled pussy eating reference, who knows?
Exactly. I mean, he was just talking about sniffing pussy, so... That is the weirdest thing to say.
Oh, also he does say, "Won't you pop that pussy for breakfast" on Ghoulie, which was
that
really
one's
something.
Kind of funny. I thought Ghoulie was a total, like, nothing burger, I didn't like it.
I
I thought it would've been better as an instrumental track.
Yeah, I thought Ghoulie was neat, and I liked the way his voice was, like, coming in and out of the mix, and, like, he was doing all different inflections, and, like, they were putting different effects on his voice. It's kinda scary, but
Yeah,
in the end, like, he's not the kinda guy to do something like this. Like,
yeah.
insane comparison, but compare this to, that one fucking song on, the Ethel Cain album, the scary one on the Ethel Cain
Wha
album,
Typing in Ethel Cain
Ptolemaea.
in
Um,
yes,
this song
Ptolemaic.
has nothing to say. Like, it's not
Yeah.
backing up that auditory scariness with any kind of thematics or anything, so I don't know, I just didn't feel about it.
You know what's kinda hilarious is I think that I did make an Ethel Cain comparison later on in the episode, so she's just here today. But, yeah, I thought that Ghoulie would've been better for me as an instrumental track. The one that really jumped out to me as kind of weird and out of place was Smile Lines.
Yeah, I can see that.
I was like, it's more interesting than really anything else happening otherwise on the album, in my humble opinion.
That production
Um,
trick with, like, turning whatever that song that's from, like, it's like a kick into a guitar solo into this
yeah.
weird dark loop was neat, but
Yeah.
yeah.
The drums I thought complemented the vocals
Yeah,
nicely. I wish the beat developed a little bit more to kind of build on that interest
yep,
that it had at the start,
I
because it
wrote
was
that too.
such a shock to the system to have, like, that beginning part where it's like a normal rock
Yep.
song, and then you start rapping
It
over it, and then it never
It did
changes.
remind me of that one JPEG Mafia song from, LP that does a similar trick, which is, I believe.
Believe it or not, I have yet to listen to
Oh, it's
LP,
really
which is
good. Uh,
I know I need to.
the song is End Credits is the one that uses, like, a straight up rock instrumental as, like, a dark beat like this. But that
Gotcha.
one's just way more dynamic, and the guitar lines are constantly changing, and it's very
Yeah.
disorienting. Like, it's just a better
And
track.
Peggy's production is just kinda nutso, like, it's so big.
Yeah, yeah, impossible to ignore.
Um Yeah, and I kinda zoned out and missed both Nostrand and
No
Impasse.
Strand was a nothing burger for me. It felt very repetitive and the hook was awful. I think a lot of the hooks
Yeah.
on this album were kind of bad.
I think that Split Tongue was a cool one.
So
I liked the bars, and I thought the atmospheric beat was kinda nice,
when
but that was, like, the last note that I took.
when Elucid sang on Stone Fruit by Arm& Hammer, the singing was like campy, acknowledgedly, and it was there for the effect of like the only genuine positive emotion on that whole album,
Mhm.
Haram. But he's just like not a very good singer, and that's okay in some contexts, but I don't think it worked at all on Split Tongue. That song just came across as super goofy to me.
Mhm. Yeah, I think I mostly was just kinda happy to hear something different, because I don't think that he really does a whole lot to diversify across this album other than the occasional beat
Yep,
that's, like,
yep,
strange, like Smile
I agree.
Lines. Other than that, it's just sorta like, okay, we're staying in the same zone, which is I hate to compare, I don't wanna pit 2 friends against
Right.
each other, but on Ethiops, that album is so dynamic, and each song flows into each other, but, like, they are so different across each
Right.
other. Like, jump from, like, Asylum to 9X, like, what's happening, you
Yeah.
know? So it's super strange to hear somebody who is such a close collaborator with Billy Woods come out with something that's so flat and, like, boring. 'Cause I feel like, being around artists who you admire and you are friends with, I feel like to me, it inspires me to diversify
Yeah.
myself. But this feels very, halfway.
I wouldn't want
It feels kinda
it
sorta.
does feel kinda sorta. You guys just kinda sorta. Um, I so I wouldn't even wanna compare this to Ethiops. I would let it stand on its own. If Billy Woods wasn't on this, every other fucking track. Like,
Yeah,
it's
exactly.
so weird. Like, why invite those comparisons when he's just going to blow like, yeah, they improve the album, but it's your album. Is that a good thing?
Yeah. I wouldn't like it if I was making an album and I knew that I was working with somebody who had more clout than me
Yeah.
and who was known to be one of probably the best storytelling and lyricists in rap
Like,
right
he just
now.
steals the show, like, from me on my
Yeah.
album.
Yeah, I would be sad about that. So, kinda sucks to see him shirk the chance to make an album that would really set him apart from Billy Woods and instead just be like it almost feels like taking the easy way to get notoriety about your album to have somebody who people are obviously going to be excited to hear from on it.
Yeah.
So that's sad, but,
The best
yeah,
songs
I didn't really have anything to say about this other than
the
that.
best songs here for me are the ones that, even though the rapping is still really abstract, it's used imagistically to make this cool sense of mood and place. Like when
Yeah.
that's not there, this album just feels shallow. And
Yeah.
even in comparison to things Elucid has been on before, like I really appreciate his presence on Arm and Hammer album. So I don't know what happened here.
Yeah.
Like doubtless these verses like mean things to him, and if I asked him, he could explain them. But like they're not getting much across to me as a listener, which is a problem.
Yeah.
IMO.
I was bummed that Betamax wasn't better because the title made me think about, like, incel looks maxing and shit
Oh
like
yeah,
that.
this
I was like, "I hope that this has some funny stuff going on or, like, commentary about being a beta," but
this
no.
album ends really badly, in my opinion. Guy R.
Yeah.
Brewer is nothing.
Yeah.
Betamax, I like the way it ends. Hi, when he's like repeating that, but I just did not.
Yeah.
I just did not. It did nothing for me. And
Mhm.
then Mangosteen, which is before Split Tongue and Jumanji, but it's like it has a really good verse from Woods on it because Elucid says turtles all the way down earlier in the episode, which is a reference to like that branch of I think it's Hindu mythology where the world is on top of a big turtle and then that's on top of another bigger turtle. But like it's the verse is such word salad apart from that reference that it
Mhm.
feels like Woods just pulls on that turtles all the way down line for his verse because he had nothing else to go on. Also, the way the beat like manipulates the volume of that sample, that's just a huge pet peeve for me. I hate it when anybody does that.
That's basically
Yeah,
that's main for
I
this.
feel bad about this one, but it's kind of an L. Um Actually,
Yeah.
before we peace out on this one, I will say that I really liked Woods' line on Mangosteen where he said, "Unannounced visitors may well find the lead flying. My sleep app is people arguing and wailing sirens. Sudden silence."
Mhm.
Elucid,
Yeah.
my man, you cannot keep up. You cannot.
Alright, our next album is going to be 700 Bliss with Nothing to Declare.
Yeah, bitch, make room. Yeah, bitch, make room. Yeah. I'ma read newsroom. Kissy good perfume. Yeah. I'ma teach classroom.
Not the
This is,
best. You go.
go first. No,
Wow. I thought it was not the best thing in the world, but I liked it. Yeah.
yeah.
Um,
This is immediately a lot to take in.
it was a blender I was happy to be thrown into for a half an hour.
Yeah, it is pretty brief, but like considering it's like what 16 songs long,
Yeah.
it being a half an hour is
Yeah,
pretty a lot.
it gives you a lot of chances to impress upon you, even with just a 30-minute record.
Yeah.
The
I
way,
I
sorry, you go.
liked it overall. I thought that it was sparse in an interesting way,
Mhm.
but also I thought that it was too sparse in some areas.
Yeah,
Um
I agree.
like there was I will say like most of my favorite songs on the album had bongo on it. I thought
Same.
yeah, the fucking bongo did so much.
Wow, I can't believe we're so brain synced on this.
So, yeah, I was like, if you had a few more elements like that bongo across other songs that just added a little bit of intrigue on top of that cool foundation that you have, it would be a lot more, I think.
The way that critics were talking about this got Pitchfork Best New Music, which is the whole reason I found out about it. Despite being a More Mother fan, I had no idea this was coming out.
Mm.
And I only saw it when Pitchfork gave it Best New Music, and I was like, wow, what the fuck? Finally, she deserves it, but is this going to be the one? And I don't think this deserves the Pitchfork Best New Music. Like,
It
I,
is Pitchfork.
I definitely thought this was going to be higher stakes, but for as like minimalist and abrasive as it is, it's pretty clearly a fuck around project for More Mother and DJ Haram.
Yeah.
Neither of them are taking themselves super seriously. And like you said, it's very like bare bones intentionally, but like the songs clearly didn't take a lot of time to make, and a lot of the
Yeah.
lyrics are clearly like improvised. It's like somebody rapping over a fucked up Arca song for a lot of it.
Yeah. I think that a lot of it is that it kind of coasts off of having a really jarring, like threatening atmosphere.
And
Um,
a stellar vocalist in More Mother. Like she's going to
yeah,
grab your attention on any track she's on always.
yeah. So I thought that that was a lot of it. I thought that Night Flame was the first one that I really liked.
Uh-huh.
I thought the texture of the bongos with like the really hollow industrial energy of the synth
I
and the
totally
beat,
agree.
yeah, it was really cool. And the vocal delivery from this feature was really cool too. Um,
So that wasn't a feature, that was DJ Haram, and she's actually kind of my least favorite thing about this album.
oh, really?
Yeah, okay, so she really reminds me of this rapper called Tommy Genesis, who is like one of my least favorite rappers because I feel like he
Mm,
just kind of pops up and does the same inflection, like girlish. She's like trying to do a Black Dresses vocal thing, but it doesn't sound like
mhm.
it's on purpose. Pretty much all of DJ Haram's vocal contributions on this album I end up not really liking, but it's not enough to kill Night Flame for me. That is definitely one of my favorite tracks.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm
I thought
sorry. I was wrong. I was wrong. DJ Haram is on the title track. And I didn't like her there.
Orion's Son.
Orion's Son is on this, and she's really, really good. Sorry to
Yeah,
Orion's Son. She's really excellent on this song, and not a name I would have expected to see on her either.
yeah, so I liked that feature, I thought that was cool. Um, I thought that Anthology was probably my least favorite track on the album.
So,
I thought
yeah,
that was just really long.
so the first time that I listened to that one, I was kind of put off by the narration, which I
Mhm.
thought was like kind of taking me out of the parts of it that were really interesting. But by my third spin, I was just grooving. That was maybe my favorite track on the record.
Hmm.
I like that her chants offered this like kind of like not as rhythmic counterpart to how steady and droning the rest of the song was. And that like synth sound that it's just driving on for the whole track, it almost reminds me a little of Charger by Gorillaz. And in that like comparison, More Mother would be Grace Jones, which like I don't know, I kind of am into that as a comparison.
I have no context because I don't know either.
Oh.
So
Okay, well,
I can't contribute
I
much, but
I don't
I'll
think
smile and nod.
I think you can skip Humans for the most part. There's some great songs on it, but overall it's not like incredible, but you should listen to Warm Leatherette and Nightclubbing because those are like fucking iconic albums.
Okay. I I think that the vocals on Discipline with that beat in the background, it makes it feel almost like I'm being, like, preyed upon, like it's actively threatening me.
Yeah.
I said, "I feel like I'm trapped in a maze made of concrete, and it's lit only by, like, streetlights."
And
That's how this album feels to me.
she's like explicitly threatening you on that song too. So it's very
Yeah.
like her threats are so weird too. I was really into that one.
Yeah, that
Uh
one's cool.
No More Kings is the most like rap song
Yeah, and I did like that
there.
one.
Yeah, the that one also had the bongos. I did you said it before, but I really liked how much the album like developed that bongo sound. It was cool.
Yeah. I said that no more I said no more Kings with the Bongos again, let's go! But also I like the vocal treatment on that one.
Yeah,
I
me
thought
too.
that it was a cool mix. That was probably my favorite at the time that I listened to it. I
Between
liked,
I'm
Capital.
about 102.
I liked the guest vocalist on Capital. The way the vocals pan in some areas on that is really neat as well.
Uh,
Um,
the way that Ali Logout was featured on that was filtered on that song really made me think of the Fax Gang stuff we listened to.
yeah, I thought that it was kind of funny that they said, "motherfucking" on that song so many times,
I'm a fucking agitator.
Considering EasyJet when they were like, "Oh, it's motherfucking this and motherfucking that." Like, I was like, "Oh, that's kinda funny, that's for self-aware."
I did hate EasyJet. I thought it was one of the worst interludes I've ever heard. It was
It
so
was pretty
annoying.
lame. I did wonder which one was recorded first, Capital with them saying "motherfucking" so
Yeah.
often, and then I wonder if they came out of them, and they were like, "Well, we said that a lot," or if it was, like, afterwards a self-aware thing, so I don't really know. Yeah,
Can I
EasyJet was kinda grating.
commit a cardinal sin of talking about experimental rap?
What is that?
Capital reminds me of both Death Grips and Clipping. The intro where it's just like the noise that she's rapping over reminds me of the leopard skin pillbox hat by Death Grips and
Mm,
the intro on the self-titled Clipping album. Also she
I see
says
it.
uh I said it, but she says I'm a fucking agitator, and I'm so obsessed with that.
Yeah. I thought that my probably least favorite was Anthology, but I also was kind of just iffy on some of the ones that I didn't write anything about. I was like, these could just as easily be on my least favorite. I don't know. It was either this album, like I enjoyed it, or I was like, okay, I could rather be listening else right now. I can't think of anything off the top of my head, but
Less Scripts and More Victories were the two I didn't like. More Victories was pretty like
yeah,
aimless, even by the standards of this kind of
yeah,
album. And then Bless Scripts, I literally just wrote fart beat, fart beat, fart beat. It
yeah.
sounded like a weird fart.
I definitely got that as well. Crown was kind of cool. It was much more mellow, I thought, and it relied more on the actual messaging. It felt a little bit more like self-serious
Yeah,
than the rest of the album, which I thought was kind of refreshing.
Seven sounded like that to me as well too.
Yeah, I didn't write anything about Seven. Lead Level 15 was
The
a dope closer.
Yeah, that was awesome. That's probably I think I liked some other songs better, but in terms of like a song to recommend people from this one, I would probably pick Lead Level 15.
Yeah, I thought it might be when I first looked at it, I thought it might be short to be impactful as a closer, but no, I thought it got there.
Yeah, the
Um,
fucking moaning, like wavery, vocoded, whoever the feature is on the back of this, he sounded like the Max Headroom broadcast intrusion, like really
Yeah.
badly.
I think that that's just gonna be one of our, like, mascots at this
Yeah,
point. We bring him up so much.
we have to get Max Headroom in on this.
Max Headroom fan art, us as the Max Headroom incident.
Us on the like on that background.
Mhm.
I also did like 16. I wrote headphones are broken type beat.
Yeah.
And I thought her delivery on this was almost like a UK drill song. The way she's like gun talk sex violence, like it really made
Yeah.
me think like of like how a UK drill rapper would like spit words like that.
Yeah, I see it. I thought that, one thing is that I this just kinda popped in head that I kind of wish that they had more of, like, a full sound, because I feel like I coulda gotten something similar out of this album that I did to, Driponomics by Soul Glow with
Yeah.
Bearcat.
Yeah, I could totally
Like,
see that.
'Cause she sounds mean, she sounds aggressive on that song, and I feel like I coulda gotten something kind of similar with how threatening More Mother is off of this, if they
Yeah.
had had a little bit more of a fullness on those sounds and really gone hard on how heavy they could have been.
Yeah, it is a fuck around project, and there's nothing inherently wrong with that. So if you're into this kind of like very fucked up synth and rap music, you'll probably like this, but not love it.
Yeah, and I think that it probably, I mean, it is kinda saying exactly what it is with the title, "Nothing to declare," it's not
Yeah,
saying anything.
yeah. And also nothing
S
wrong with that either.
Yeah, I mean, it is kind of interesting to have "Nothing to declare" and then also have a song like "Crown," which does say something.
Or like Anthology, talking about Catherine Dunham.
Yeah, or they are saying something.
Uh,
So,
can
yeah,
I say the best line on this album? I think I DM'd it to you when I was first listening to it.
you did indeed, go ahead.
More Mother on the first track says, "Hater sexuals wanna be queer," and I am obsessed with calling straight people hater sexuals now. It's really, really good.
That's me, baby.
That's you. You're a hater. Well, no, I would never call you a hater sexual because, well, you know. But the
Flip sand.
I also will say that maybe the best consistent part of this album, besides the bongos for me, was More Mother's ad libs, because
Mhm.
she can do rap ad libs. Like she has that split with Billy Wood's brass that's like actually fucking amazing. So she can do like normal rap ad libs if she wants, but she sounds so funny because I'm so used to her being so menacing on every single song she's on that when she's on the first track, like that's me, like here's
Yeah.
Johnny. It's like it's so weird to hear her talking like that. Yo 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 yo.
It's pretty funny.
Yeah, I really like this.
She sounds like she's having a good time.
Both of them really seem like they're having a good time on this one. I'm into it.
Yeah. And that's all I have to say about this.
Yeah, I don't have a ton to say about that one, but like if you're into this kind of thing, why not give it a spin? Low stakes.
Yeah, you never know. Next up is kind of a different one for this week. Very, I think, unique. Sound of Ceres with Emerald Sea.
That
This
was
one,
delightful.
it's very cool. I liked it a lot. It's super immersive. I think that Candy Claws, even when they were Candy Claws, for context, this is Candy Claws evolved.
Yeah, it's the 2
It's
original members plus some other guys, and then Marina Abramovich, the conceptual performance artist, has, like, narration interludes on here.
Yeah, which is cool. I mean, why not? Candy claws have always been kind of built for experiences like these. They're immersive like that.
Mhm,
And this definitely does feel like it makes sense. The ocean motifs have always kind of suited them well as well because their sound has always felt really shrouded and watery.
mhm.
And the development that's come as they've moved to Sound of Series, it's really apparent. Like this, it's super clear.
The cover of this fits it so well.
Oh, yeah, I couldn't think of anything else to make it, I was doing this one late at night, like, at, like,
Same.
12:30, and I just wanted to close my eyes and just, like, sink into it. The album feels different from Ceres and Calypso, which is my biggest reference point for
Mhm,
them,
same.
because it's still kind of a brick, like, it's really loud and there's a lot happening,
But
but there's more dynamic mixing happening.
right.
Things are fluctuating a little more, and it's a lot more layered. The vocals by Kay also have, in some points, a little bit of like an Elizabeth Fraser quality to them.
I was gonna say Grimes at certain points.
Oh yeah, I mean, I could see that too. Just in the sense that, like, even when you have the lyrics in front of you, sometimes it's hard to parse out
Oh,
exactly what's
yeah.
being said. It could be kind of divisive to have that in a concept album where knowing what's happening is a little more important, and it's
Yeah.
like it is a story. But to me, it kinda feels all the more, like, otherworldly.
I'll
Yeah,
also
so
be
I
honest,
liked it.
when I was listening to this, I liked this a lot, but I didn't really get too much from the conceptual aspect of it, TBH. Like, I liked Marina's inclusions, but I don't think it necessarily had to be her specifically for the themes to work or anything.
Yeah.
But, like, her being there is really good atmosphere. She's a good narrator. It's cool that she's involved in this. But I think if you liked this, the Melodies Echo Chamber project from earlier this year, you can listen to this on the same level you listen to that, and you will love it. Like, it reminds me a lot.
Yeah. I liked this one. A couple of tracks that I liked all of it, like, I wasn't anything that I, like, picked out where I was like, "I don't like that." Um, but I think that my favorites were Sunray Venus,
Mhm.
which has such a nice layered effect, and the percussion is, like, beautifully mixed.
That
It's, like,
piano line is
super
really good.
Yeah, it's super that the percussion is really, like, reedy and soft, but it still grounds the mix really well.
The
Uh,
ending kick in on that song after the bridge is, like, really good. It's very well earned.
yeah. The Glare also has probably some of the most, like, unintelligible voices like, vocals that I've heard from this band.
Candy
Or
Claus is
actually, no, I
Candy Claus
said
is on the Glare as a feature.
yeah, that's so funny. But the vocals, like, being really prominent despite, like, can't super get them, but, like, being that prominent is really nice since the song brings up sirens.
Yeah. The
The
rhythm on
crescendos in that
Yeah,
chorus
I was gonna
are
say,
so nice.
the bridge where they're just like, "Ooh," and then the way that it gets increased, like, grooviness and bassiness after that, and then
Yeah.
the rhythm being a little bossa nova? I don't know, I was into that one. That was
Yeah,
really good.
yeah. And the vocals, like, the way that the crescendos happen, it feels a little bit like waves crashing,
Yeah.
which I think is really cool considering the fact that it's a sea, you know?
Yeah, so this album is, like you're spot on with it being a brick in a different way than Candy Claus was, because Candy Claus is a brick because everything was so distorted. This is a brick because there's almost like a little bit of like this ethereal white noise filter on
Yeah.
everything on this whole thing. It's cool. It's a very cool sound, but everything is still so clear.
Mhm. Um, I liked Arm of Golden Flame as well.
I also really like that one.
It's got just a really pleasant rhythm, and it's just really jovial, feels good.
Um, it's the most Candy Claus song on there for sure.
Yeah.
It has like a calliope or marimba breakdown into the
Yeah.
second verse. The backbeat is really slick, and they also bring Marina more into the song rather than keeping her on her own, and I really like that touch too.
Yeah. The last one that I wrote a note on was the drums of Handillian's Place.
Yeah.
Um, like that one, they're just it's just sheesh. Like those drums, they ripped me a new one. Like I was like starting to fade away, and then the drum kick came in, and I was like, whoa. Um, just
Uh,
like I was hello.
I actually didn't write anything down about that one, so I owe it a second shot. I think I was maybe just a little zoning out by the end of this one, so I definitely owe it a second shot.
I super like the fawn as well.
That's the grimesiest one for me.
Yeah.
But it's still filtered through the album's like opulent fairy tale psychedelia thing. The vocal on this one is the one that I really took note of. She like the chorus is like, it could be a lot of artists, but I think K sells it really, really well.
Yeah.
Marina's also really involved with the actual song here on this one too.
Yeah, I thought this was a really cool project. And it's pretty brief too. I think
Yeah,
it's like 35 minutes or something like that.
Totally digestible. Good year for quick female fronted groove driven psychedelia projects.
Yeah, which is hilarious because like the girls are getting it done.
Yeah.
But the boys are double albuming it up.
Giz has flopped.
Yeah, so I'm glad that I'm really glad that these brief projects are really taking it home for me.
Yeah, they're super complete. Like that's just nice to have a complete project that's that short.
Because then there's no fat to trim. You're just chilling.
Yeah, like it's considered at that level.
Stuff like that is the kind of thing that I'm like, I need this as a vinyl, because then you don't feel like you're just sitting through an entire song you don't really care for. It's all snappy.
Yeah, no, this is the effect you get of listening to this is like sitting down for a symphony concert and just like a blast of lake and forest air getting shot in your face. It's really good. I like this a lot.
Yeah, which I did note that when I went on the website, let me pull up the website real quick, because they did write like a little bio about like, aside from the story, but like the concept of what it's supposed to be.
Okay.
Soundofceres.com. So first of all, the website's just really cool. I recommend looking at it just because you like scroll through the website and it goes through different scenes that show the acts and like the way that the stage would look.
Yeah.
It's just neat.
That is neat.
But music, Emerald Sea. Rendered in dynamic, ambitious orchestral passages, it forms the basis of future stage performances, intended to draw its half-submerged narrative into the visual sphere.
Whoa.
In its dreamlike impressions, it could also be the soundtrack to a long-forgotten early musical film, an experience that delighted and transported audiences and then vanished from records, surviving only in the imprint of memory.
Wow, that's a lot of words, but at the same time, like, I definitely get, like, a film feel from this totally. Like, the cover's a movie poster. Like, it is...
Yeah, exactly.
It is formatted like one. Yeah, that's really neat context. I dig that a lot.
Yeah, and I really like that ending feeling of, they were like, it only survives in memory and impressions.
Yeah.
Because I feel like that's what I get out of the vocals being so affected like that, is like, I don't come away remembering lyrics or anything like that, or knowing the story.
Yeah.
I just get a vibe.
I don't even come away from it remembering specific songs if I didn't write them down. And for once, I don't really mind that. Like, it's just a good experience through the whole thing.
Exactly, yeah. I'm totally with you.
Second Star Shroud, also, I don't think we talked about, but I like that one a lot.
Yeah, that one's really nice, too.
That was the one that I really got the most, like, symphony vibes from it. I thought it was a really good opener. Well, after some Rina narration, but, you know, first song.
Yeah. Yeah, that's basically all I gotta say about this is just, like, it's very pretty.
Yeah, that's a solid one. That is a very solid one.
It was just very enjoyable. I'm glad I didn't miss this one.
All right, what's next?
All right.
Oh, it's my turn to say all right. Fuck.
See, it's hard to not. All right. Oh, fuck. Yes, our next our next album is going to be Perfume Genius with Ugly Season. This one, dude. I dug this one heavy.
Mike, you okay, man?
You alright, dog?
Are you like going through some things?
This album is, it feels so paradoxical in like the sound of it. Okay, I'm gonna set a scene for you. So this to me sounds like Perfume Genius scoring on like an A24 horror film in some areas.
It actually is a score.
Is it?
Yeah. It's for a dance piece, like a interpretive dance piece. It's a score for it. But he's also treating it on its own and releasing it as his like official second studio album.
But especially the song Just a Room. That was when I was like, this feels like I could be watching Witch right now.
The breathing at the end of that made my skin crawl.
It's crazy.
Oh my god.
Yeah, it feels like I'm walking into a big mansion that's abandoned and there's cobwebs everywhere.
Yeah.
Then the door shuts behind me and it's just me in an open room and Perfume Genius is sitting in a chair in the middle and he's got his merry band of like two people and they're playing like a super sparse but very open, huge sounding album where it's like there could be just a single piano playing for like a minute, but it feels so consequential and so big and so important in that time
Yeah.
that it feels so paradoxical where it's small and it's intimate, but it's so, a lot.
This album got hit for me with the you can't listen to this critical acclaim brain thing for me
Oh,
really
really?
badly. Like even knowing we had to listen to it for the podcast and putting it on the list, and I've heard No Shape now, so like, something about the cover and like what people were saying about it and the rapturous reception, just like my brain was fucking shut down on this thing, which
Yeah.
sucks because it deserves more time than I was able to give it because the listens I had to it were like harrowing. This thing is kind of frightening at points.
It really is.
The cover is maybe my favorite album cover of this year so far. Every time I look at it, it unnerves me more. I love the A24 film comparison, and especially The Witch, because I haven't seen The Witch, but I've seen The Lighthouse, and
Mhm.
The Lighthouse has that same like unreal, dream-like, nightmarish synth feel that this album does. So
Yeah.
yeah, I was definitely, that's a really good vibe check on that one.
Thank you.
Um,
This to me, comparing to No Shape is an interesting way to, I think, open. 'Cause
unbelievable to me because I fucking had no idea what to expect.
yeah, and this was super shocking to me as well, 'cause No Shape is really interesting because that one is multidimensional in how, like, bombastic and maximalist it is,
Mhm.
but this one really just revels in the nuance and working with the guitar and the
Yeah.
drums and the piano and the synth and nothing else. I thought it was really interesting. I thought it was super, super good. Just in general, I was just like, it's so experiential. I was just listening to it and I was like, whoa.
Yeah, it is this is a weird one for sure. Like
Hmm.
it is way more experimental than what he's done in the past from my understanding.
Yeah, definitely.
And like it is at times hard to like put your foot down on what it's trying to be, but I mean that in a good
Hmm.
way. Like it's so
Yeah,
amorphous and shape shifting.
it feels like being in the middle of a huge fog.
Yeah, the only pop song on this album is called Pop Song, and it
Yeah,
feels like ironic. It almost feels like commentary on the need for there to be a single. Like
exactly.
it's very cool. That
Hmm.
song's also really good is the other thing though.
That song
So
is really good.
yeah.
There's really nothing on this that I'm like, I could take or leave. I
Ugly
really feel like
Season for me, the reggae shit.
really,
Yeah,
I like that one.
I felt nothing about it. I actually heard a surprising amount of early Gorillaz on this album,
Oh,
and
interesting.
that one had like some of the vibes of like early Gorillaz like experiments with dub reggae, and I
Mhm,
can take or leave basically all of those, and so I could take or leave Ugly Season.
mhm.
But like
I
it's a diversion, it's not a like momentum killer. There's a lot of really cool stuff here.
yeah, on Hiram, uh, I was listening with my friend Liam, shout out, and, he said, "This makes me feel naked and afraid," and I thought that was a really good way to phrase it, because that is kind of how it feels. The album is stretched so thin, and I feel really
Haha,
exposed
that's what he says
myself
in Pop
listening to
Song.
it. Yeah, and it makes me feel really exposed myself. It's like especially the song "Hiram," it's long, and that song is one of the ones that really forces you to obey its pace.
Yes, I
Like,
totally agree.
it promises to, like, fulfill what you're waiting for, but only if you'll stick it out.
And
And that really, like, bubbling, percussive synth at the end,
yeah,
it really, really proves that. It toils.
when I say that the album is shape shifting, Hiram is the song that I'm really like talking about because
Yeah.
this goes through moments of influence from like French chanson and Arabic music. I feel like I'm just like looking out at this huge desert. I'm like jumping off a waterfall. I can't understand fucking anything he's saying. He's using his like falsettos, like whispery falsetto just for the texture of it. Like
Yeah.
any trace of pop in this music is just gone. Like it's just not
Yeah.
there.
And the falsetto that he normally uses on his music is so sparse on this one.
Yeah.
It's very, very sparingly used. So when it is used,
You remember it.
it stops feeling like comforting and poppy like it might on another album. And instead it starts feeling like a banshee or
Yeah,
something.
it's alien. This album's really alien.
Yeah, it's so unique. It's so like I just did not expect this. I can't get over how like shocked I am that this exists, honestly.
Teeth
Um,
was incredible. The like
yes.
piano, sax, xylophone stuff like in the midsection of that song. It is like so hard to describe this album without getting impressionistic because I loved this track. I think that's the only thing really on here besides Pop Song that you can listen to casually as opposed to just like as part of the experience. But it's like I'm climbing a staircase into the sky is what I wrote. Like it's so
oh my god, yeah. I said it felt like being floated to the afterlife.
yeah, it was crazy. That song is
Yeah.
really, really good. I looked up the lyrics, and I actually do want to talk about the lyrics on this album for as little as you can tell what they're saying. So the line on this song is, "Bowl of lemons, my silken fine array, a fading garland, a skull set on a plate, what images return to me?" And that is a clear shout out to, thank you, my SCAD education, Dutch Vanitas paintings, which are, yeah, so it's like a genre of painting from like old Dutch masters where they would just like draw a bunch of random objects on a table that symbolized a bunch of shit, and they would always put a skull or something in there to symbolize like memento mori.
Yeah. Think like the Ambassadors by Holbein.
Yeah, so he is mixing in the words Christian and ancient Greek. Like in the words on here, he's name dropping a bunch of ancient Greek figures. He's mixing Christian and ancient Greek symbolism and like classical painting themes in like, if you're the kind of person who really cares about any of those things, it would be like irreverent. Like it's just like smashing those things together, which I think is really cool.
It's super iconoclastic. It's really neat.
That's a really good word for it. Yeah. Especially combined with like how close the cover is approximating classical painting without really looking like anything. I totally read him having antennas on this cover. I'm sorry to just keep talking about this cover, but it like
it is haunting. It's a really, really amazing
doing
cover.
Things to me. And the song Scherzo, that song is so fucking weird because it's literally just like this, the piano on this song just scuttles for like 3.5 minutes. Like it's literally skittering like a fucking bug. That's what it sounds like. It's like music that plays in an art house film when a bug creature shows up and scuttles around. This is what fucking Gregor Samsa sounds like. And like I'm looking at this thing on the cover that looks to me like it has antennas, and like I'm imagining this thing moving, and it is giving me the absolute willies.
Yeah, to me, Scherzo, almost the way that the piano moves and like is arranged, it almost substitutes for vocals, which is pretty interesting. It's like a very lyrical piano. Like it has a very loose melody, but it fluctuates and like goes random enough to where it almost sounds like a voice. And I thought that was really frightening because it almost feels like being lost somewhere and not like having somebody around you who's like speaking at you very like it almost has an angry tone to it. Or like judgmental. But you have no idea what they're saying.
I think this album should soundtrack an A24 adaptation of Kafka's Metamorphosis.
Oh yeah, definitely. I see that. And also I want to mention that on Pop Song and also I believe on the opener, there's mentions about losing names.
Ooh.
And I don't know what those exactly mean, but I feel like it might have something to do with how amorphous this album is. Like maybe this is sort of him losing his identity as an artist and trying to refine it.
Again, with the cover of him just dissolving.
Exactly. So I feel like that might be something.
Shout out to Pop Song for like being a pop song and fitting so well into the sequencing on this album. Like,
yeah, I don't know how the fuck he did that.
It still has like weird, like that synth riff is really like stuttering and not matching up with anything, but it's still so pretty. Like I don't know how the fuck that's a miracle.
I wanted to kind of talk a little bit about Ugly Season because to me, I thought it was interesting as like a composition. I can't help but like think about these songs not as songs but as compositions. Like they're so consciously and meticulously arranged.
No, same. I agree.
But it's got like a very interesting mix of like a squeaky kind of sound effect with this like echoey, really circular rhythm and the strings in the back that are really harrowing. And it feels like it's actively kind of deceiving me into believing something,
Mhm.
but I also can't tell what the real identity of it is.
Yeah.
Like, is it that really moaning synth behind that second verse with like that low affected vocal? Or is it the really upward bright beat with the high synth in the chorus?
Have you
Like
have you heard the first
it
Gorillaz album?
no, I haven't.
This song kind of reminds me of Double Bass from that album, which is like this
Mhm.
really fucky 3-minute composition that plays with some not as reggae-ish, but similarly like distorted and swampy sounds. And then
Mhm.
halfway through the song, it just pauses, and Damon Albarn says, "All of which makes me anxious, at times unbearably so." And then it just picks up right where it left off. And like, I don't know, it just reminded me a lot of that. And it made me like
Yeah,
have
I could
that
see
sort
that.
of like trudging through the mire, watching the fog swirl around you feeling.
Yeah. I did like the sentiment of it, like, it being ugly season, bitch, it doesn't have to make sense. Because I was
I
like,
am in my flop era.
yeah, like, he's so actively being like, "I don't fucking care, like, this is my I'm being born." Like, don't say I'm molting, don't say it's disgusting, like, calling back to Andrew
Yeah.
Burns. This a similar sentiment shown in a completely different way.
It's
Like, so polar
I think
opposite.
that totally comes through on Eye on the Wall too, where it's like initially kind of
Yeah.
like poppy and ballroomy and bass, like the bass groove on it is really good. But then it just like
Mhm.
breaks down and it's like, yeah, this is the thing that
Yeah.
I want to do.
Yeah, and it's like 8.5 minutes of that.
Yeah.
So it just makes you obey it basically. Like this feels like being like I'm listening into submission, you know?
Shout out to the late great Julie Cruz. Miss you already. Her fingerprints are kind of all over Eye on the Wall for me. Like it really reminds me a lot of her particular brand of dream pop and the way her guitars sound a
Yeah.
lot of the time. It reminded me a lot of that.
Photograph was
That was
interesting.
cool.
It's so noisy. And it's a synth that feels kind of like it's mutating.
Yeah.
But his vocals on that one are really clear and that balances and juxtaposes really
It's like
cool.
really abstract 9 Inch Nails by the end. I'm into it.
Yeah, yeah, and it sort of continues with the idea of contrast and duality that I saw
Mhm.
from the title
Which are
track,
always ideas
and
he's been
it
interested in.
yeah, yeah, exactly. So I thought that that was really interesting. This album and with how some of it is so beautiful and some of it is so disgusting and hard, it kinda does remind me of Ethel Cain, presented in a different way. Like, the differences between, like, Ptolemaea to televangelism is what I would say. Um,
I that's an interesting take.
Because Ptolemaea has that, like, the really, like
Grinding, oppressive.
yeah, grimy, harrowing, oppressive, like, the screaming, the stop, the satanic imagery, stuff like that. And then televangelism, you're ascending, and it's piano, and it's beautiful, and it's glimmering, and it's just there's an active juxtaposition between those 2 things, and it's making you think about
I
both.
do feel
And
like
some of that piano is deceptive. I feel like it's similar in some
I do
ways.
feel like this album is conceptually looser than that one. Like this isn't an opera in the
Definitely.
way
Oh,
that
yeah.
is. And I
Definitely.
think that would be the main distinction I would make. But I do see the comparison with the like juxtaposition of light and dark, but the way that the light is never really truly free of that darkness.
Yeah, and even I guess the a lot of the comparison also, like, sonically comes from the fact that there is a lot of dream pop
Yeah,
across
totally.
this. And that one is dream pop as well.
Uh,
Um,
the way that the sax gets fucked up at the end of Photograph made my jaw drop. That is
oh,
so cool.
yeah.
What did he do to that thing?
I have no idea. I feel like the way that I imagine him working on this is, like, sitting on the floor in a room with, cheesecloth, just, moving cloth everywhere, and there's, like, bugs skidding around, he just, has his one hand on, like, a drum
Yeah.
machine and, like, a computer, and then the other, scratching the floorboards and making, a crazy, squeaking
Yeah,
sound.
this album really does make me think about bugs. I don't know why, just something about
It
it.
is buggy, yeah, which I love as a bug enjoyer.
Um, I think the elephant in the room here is Hellbent. This is the song that everybody's talking about. What the fuck is
Yeah.
going on with this one?
It rocked my world. It churns and drives, and it becomes angelic, and then it becomes this shock back into
Yeah,
percussion again. It's just so
these are the
cool.
only live drums on the whole album as far as I can tell, and the insane break into them with that, like, choppy, dissonant, fucked up guitar is, like, it's so weird. This song is so Bjork to me. Like,
Yeah, Bjork is a really cool comparison for this, actually.
this album is very Bjork, I think.
If No Shape is Kate Bush, this is Bjork.
Doesn't she have an album that the cover kind of looks like this?
Only K.u.a?
Utopia.
Utopia, yeah.
Where, like, her facial features are all distorted and stuff.
Miss Bjongeljonk, putting her everywhere.
The Queen of Iceland.
Yeah, I love Bjork, though, so it makes sense that I would love this.
I am not a Bjork enjoyer, but I did get a lot out of this.
I freaking love Bjork. She's great. And then I think that just a really cool that I think that the cool end to it, that closing track, the piano coming full circle and having that really deep ambient on there as well. That was kind of the one that really made me think about Televangelism by Ethel Cain,
I think
with the tone of the piano.
I think
and
I was
the
still just
drone.
recovering from Hellbent at that point.
Yeah, I thought that it was a cool end, and it was relatively understated, because I feel like that you always mention that whole thing of like a credits or like an ending
Yeah.
scene, and then a roll credits. This is one of the ones that I definitely see that.
Yeah.
Where Hellbent is like insane, and it's like it would just be too much to end that on. So you have that cool down that's needed, where it's just piano and ambient, and it lets you kind of marinate on what you just heard throughout the whole album.
I would also like to give a shout out to the production on this album because it's incredible. It is done by Blake Mills, who has among his credits, this is a fucking crazy credits list: Fiona Apple, The Affair, Connor Oberst, Upside Down Mountain, Alabama Shake, Sound and Color,
which is one of your favorites.
That's one of my favorite records ever. Jim James and John Legend.
Okay.
Semper Femina by Laura Marling. No Shape, Set My Heart on Fire Immediately. Sky Ferreira also has production credits from him. So those are like, also Andrew Bird.
Okay.
On the one that you weren't crazy about that I forget.
Are
you serious?
Yeah. I mean, I like that one, but it's just not. Yeah.
Those are some of the best produced albums of the last like half decade or so.
Yeah.
And like I can totally hear like the way the xylophones are treated on Sound and Color in the way that the xylophones are treated on this album. Like his fingerprints are all over it, and I think his contributions are like really, really good.
Dude's a virtuoso. We got to make sure that whatever he produces next, we give it a listen, because I feel like I haven't heard his name before, so I think that he needs to be.
Yeah, I hadn't heard of him either.
He did so many albums that I like. It makes sense. All right. I don't really have anything else to say. I think I kind of gushed about it, and this is one of those ones.
Yeah,
I feel like most people who are interested in music as an experience should give this a try.
If you're into any kind of abstract music, this will definitely do something for you. Like, I don't know if you'll like 100% of it, but like, you will have an opinion on this.
Yeah, hopefully good.
Yeah, hopefully good. I was into this. I was into
really
this quite
into
a bit
too. All right, and our ending album.
Wow, it's been a journey.
Yeah, the one that I wrote the most about is going to be Asian Glow with Stalled Flutes Means. So this one is enjoyable to me in such a visceral way.
I've been pretty unconvinced on Asian Glow besides Weather Glow until now. This album owns bones.
Yeah.
This shit goes really hard.
It's awesome. I like when I was when I was writing my notes, it was like on my first listen, and I said, I feel like if I stop smiling, I'm gonna explode. It was like this is one of those albums for me where we were talking about it, where it feels like he's got his fingers in my brain.
Yeah.
Like it was so stimulating for me. It was so good. There's so much movement happening in these tracks, but they flow really naturally, and they relate to each other really well too. I said okay, so this album, I kept getting like visuals with it.
Ooh.
I kept so like when I was listening to it, each of these songs, the way that they moved, it really reminded me of visual aspects. So the first thing that I compared it to was an avalanche from an aerial view going down
Yeah.
a mountain where you can
Yeah, I
see
can
how
totally
it
see
where
that.
you can see how it routes like down the mountain. But like it's like a gritty river. I yeah, I just I saw I was like everything was happening so fast on the album and things were happening that I liked so fast. I was having a hard time writing it down.
Yeah.
It's I think that the big thing about this is that the drum work on it, the production on
It's
it,
so stepped up from their past records, in my
oh
opinion.
my god, it's fucking immaculate.
It's really good.
It was literally breathtaking.
The patterns are so hard to get a handle on. Like, I don't know how he came up with any of these drum patterns.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
It feels like he's drumming like he's breathing. Like, it none of these have to be regular. They just follow, like, a pretty, like, loose rhythm, and they just come together in this incredible way. It literally was breathtaking for me. I couldn't like, there was some moments where the drums kicked in, and I was like, "I can't breathe right now."
There are some incredible progressions on this album. Like,
Yeah.
I'm not even sure what genre of rock to call this. Like, it's kind of emo, and he operates in like k.u.a spaces
Yeah.
with like Ernal and Sonas Tomam Kanta, even though they're not Korean, but
Yeah.
like they operate in that kind of like space. But like this is progressive in a way that I don't hear very much music slapped with the emo label as progressive. Like, if I come
Yeah.
up with another progressive emo album off the top of my head, I'm gonna say Brave Little Abacus with just got back from the discomfort, we're all right, which is progressive in a really different way from that one. Like,
Yeah.
that one's really focused on like just pushing the genre to its outer limits and like seeing like how far we can go and have it still sound like emo music.
Yeah.
But this is like,
prog rock.
yeah, they're like exploring, and not in the way that like Coheed and Cambria or Pink Floyd are either. They're just
No.
like exploring meter and dynamics and progression and like instrumental palettes. Like, there's a ton of like, it's a really shitty synth violin, but like
Yes.
the
Yes.
way it's used is so rich and genuine that it comes across as like so meaningful. It's
Yeah,
great.
I definitely noticed that too, and this to me, it's such an insane smattering of genre to say, but it's really the only way I can describe that. This is like lo-fi, emo, shoegaze,
Prog
prog
rock.
rock, which is just nuts, and I feel crazy saying that, but it is.
Yeah, no,
Um,
that is exactly what it is.
yeah,
Lo-fi is also an important one to bring
yeah,
up there because it is very lo-fi.
the gritty drum texture, mixing with like that really rough compressed guitar throughout the whole thing, it just feels
Yeah,
like pure energy. Like it's so intense.
it's really good.
Yeah,
I really feel like Weatherglow and their collabs with Paranol like lit some fire under their ass on
definitely.
the like the melodic front, because on their past records I've found their melodies to be kind of stiff, but the melodies on this album are like sparkling
They're like
and
water.
brilliant, kinetic. It's so cool. The guitar
Yeah,
playing has always been great, but it's really really good on this. Like, even aside from the actual sound of it, just like the playing technically is very impressive.
yeah. One that I really thought I should take note of, is the combo and the run of Faltering Waver.
Yeah.
I thought that that one was really, really amazing. The synth breakdown, like, halfway through, had my mouth open.
Yeah, the like beep, it's like an alarm clock. It's awesome.
Yeah, the post breakdown where there's that, like, really super dense acoustic over top of the really delicate acoustic
Yeah.
strumming, like, it's that interplay. It's just an example of how the production choices on this album create this, like, thrill and, like, textural difference that I just, like, I have no idea where
Thrilling
anything's ever going.
thrilling is a really really good like word for this. It feels like a roller coaster. Like, it is
Definitely.
really like there's like wind rushing past my face for every second of this. Um Faltering Waver is so good.
Yeah,
That song's amazing. The Asian Glow is just ear candy. Like, I know I said
definitely.
that about Weather Glow, but like the progressions are so good. It goes down so easy. Like, even if you hear us say like, "Ooh, it's lo-fi emo prog rock shoegaze," like, dude, it's like if you listen to this, it's the melodies. Like, it is the
Yeah.
melodies that will get you.
And I was listening to this while I was running, and that thrill, like, it really
Oh my
it
god.
picked me up. It was like I felt like I could, like, I was my shoes were clouds, I was just floating. And then
This is
I
like
actually I had a moment with this album where I was listening to When Summer, and
that was my one track I didn't like.
I like that track, but I was listening to that, and I was listening to Ash Pit Nowhere, and I was listening to, Station Blue and Broiled Wrist, and I was
Mhm.
just, like, I was on the swings watching the sunset, and I was just like, "This is
Wow.
amazing." Oh my god, it was, like, the
This
perfect
is
way to listen to it.
this is the kind of thing that would only happen in California.
Yeah, it was
Um,
awesome.
I think if you're, like, jogging with this album on, your feet might lift off the ground for a second and
It's
you even
crazy.
notice.
Yeah.
It's vibes. The vibes are so good.
I think that the
Um,
slowed down on Station Blue and Broiled Wrist is really well timed.
yeah.
And I think that that really churning synth helps too. And this is another one that I had a strong visual for. To me, it felt like this trickle that becomes a creek and later becomes a river. And I can so easily visualize it as water, like the drums becoming the rocks that create the splashes and new dimensions that the guitars like and the synth tumble over, and then it like flash freezes with that gorgeous pizzicato, and then there's that heat wave that strikes, and the thaw creates that final waterfall that just it all blankets down. And then suddenly it's summer, and then it's one summer. And I even wrote "Now It's Summer" in my notes before I knew that the next track was called "When Summer," and I was like, "No way!"
I did that for pop song. I was like, "Wow, there's a pop song on this?" And then I looked at the title and it was pop song and I was like, "Oh, wow."
I thought that
Um,
"When Summer" was a cool breath of fresh air, but I'd be interesting to know why you didn't like it as much.
yeah, so I was worried that it was my dislike of cooldown tracks again, but then, "Curled from the Roots Part 2" came on, and for the most
Ooh.
part, that's a cooldown too, and it only, like, occasionally puts its foot on the gas. I love that, like, little ringing, glassy synth sound that the main riff on the quieter parts of that song
Yes.
do. Like, it's really, really cool. So,
Yes.
"When Summer," I said, is just kind of meandering with not that much, like, structural integrity to it, so
Yeah.
I just wasn't huge on that one.
That was another one that I had a visual for. But that one is like so I've told you about my favorite movie before, Microcosmos, The Bugs.
I don't think I've ever heard of it, no.
Okay, so there's a movie, I am not shocked you've never heard of it because it's kind of not to say it's obscure, but it's obscure. Not for any,
We
like,
we we
reason.
have a music podcast, you can say that.
Yeah, so what it is basically it's a bug documentary from 1996,
Okay.
done with, like, the best cameras at the time, and the directors are 2 microbiologists. So, like,
Huh.
they care, and, you can tell in the way that it's shot that they, like, know what they're trying to find. Um,
Roger Ebert gave it a 4 out of 4,
yeah, he loved it.
and he said, "Microcosmos is an amazing film that allows us to peer deeply into the insect world and marvel at creatures we casually condemn to squishing."
Yep, it's amazing. So the album or the album, the movie, the whole gist is that you arrive in the movie and you're in the clouds and then you descend and you go all the way down from like the troposphere all the way down to dirt in the middle of a French field in the whole movie happens from morning one day to morning the next day. You go
Whoa.
through the morning. It's not actually like 24 hours long, but that's just like
Right, yeah, yeah, but that's the
like
conceit of it.
yeah, so you go through and you meet all of these like characters, quote unquote, of the bugs. Keep in mind,
Mhm.
there is no spoken words in this movie. There's like 2 sentences in it where it's a lady saying, "In order to hear what nature says, we have to fall quiet and listen." And so what it then becomes is a story told purely by cinematography, sound design, and the score. So you like follow a dung beetle as he tries to get his ball off of a stick that he accidentally put it onto. You follow some pine processionary caterpillars as they get into a traffic jam. Stuff like that. And it's told so elegantly and beautifully, and it's just really cool. I grew up watching that movie. I watched it probably 5 times a day for about 4 years.
Nice.
Dude, I've seen that thousands of times. But, so
Bugs rule.
so when summer bugs do rule, and when summer
I
reminds me of that opening shot of Microcosmos where you see it teeming with insect life, and those white butterflies are dancing in the sun above that grass, and it felt so, like, buoyant, and I was just like, "Wow, I'm refreshed."
I just feel like I have to mention here, given the bug talk, that I did maintain for about 2 years an Instagram account, like an amateur entomology Instagram account. So the fact that we are brain linked on this too, of all things, is like, it's melting me a little bit.
You gotta watch that movie then. You would love it. It's so good. It's on the Internet
Speaking
Archive.
of bugs. Okay, I'll check that out. Speaking of bugs, there's like that insect wing sound effect on Lit Lips the Bracken.
Yes!
It's awesome. It's so good. It's like, that song is like the biggest W for him on this, because it's totally new territory. It's doing something really weird, and it pulls it off like effortlessly.
It is the greatest opener I have heard in a long time. It is so good.
It's really good.
I loved Girl from the Roots Part 2. Yeah, that use of
that was awesome.
And the interplay between she and the actual kit is so compelling. Like the drum and bass type verses with the full kit chorus, it makes it feel almost like a conversation. And it moves in such a cool way. And then leading that with that like synth that you were talking about in Curl from the Roots into Sneezing Part 2, which for an interlude I really enjoyed.
I didn't feel much about Sneezing Part 2, but Sneezing Seasonal Creators was fucking awesome. The lyrics on this song were really weird, and I was super into them.
Yeah.
And my creator seems dry now, but I could tell that soon will be flooded. Crumbling between skins and veins, could I have lived without the burnt? I don't know what the fuck that means, but I'm into it.
Yeah. I thought the lyrics were interesting across this whole thing. They're very, like, some areas they're sci-fi, like on Ash Pit Nowhere. And other ones...
Also really good too.
Yeah, and other areas they're super, like, down to earth, like on our longest track. Which is on
Look Close Knows the Reflection.
Yeah, exactly.
I liked that one, but I don't think it does anything distinctly different from the rest of the album with those whole 9 minutes.
Yeah.
It's nice while it's on.
But
I mean, it's kind of just another song.
I feel like he could have done something a little bit crazier with the 9 minutes. But I will say, I think that it does a really good job of being emotional. The talk, like, longingness of, like, longing and aloneness and, like, the expanse is well shown in, like, the really anxious tempos and the openness of some areas. It's just ambient vocal runs. I thought that's cool. I think that Ash Pit Nowhere, I want to mention just that really predatory, like, chugging kind of kettle drummy percussion. Is really cool. It feels like being pursued, and then that, like, really bright synth and, like, the blossoming strings. It makes, like, it feels like Ash Pit is a good way to put it. I feel like I'm in a desert and I've reached an oasis, you know?
Ash Pit Nowhere also has their cleanest vocal on the whole album, which, like, I don't know, it shows some actual singing chops that I might not have expected, given how, like, lo-fi wail they get on the rest of the album. And it lends some credence to the choice to use that lo-fi wail all the time. Like, yeah, I could sing well if I wanted to, but there's an effect I'm trying to go for, and so this is what you're going to get. And I'm into that.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. I
also
this album, honestly.
I also will say that the intro drumming on that on Ash Pit Nowhere does remind me of the fucking, like, slip sliding theme from Mario 64.
That's so funny, actually. I want to mention the title track as well. The title track I thought was neat. Honestly, I like it a lot. The vocals have kind of a stronger presence on it, but I thought that the play with the drums and the overarching synth that kind of glitters above it all, it makes this, like, enchanting feeling of being led deeper in somewhere. And
I thought this one could have slotted no problem onto Weatherglow.
Yeah, and the violin exchanging with that really grainy, gained out synth, it becomes this thesis of, like, the organic and the lo-fi and the electronic elements on the album. It's really, really cool.
They are, like, swinging for the fences on this one. Like, this song is huge at points. It's aiming right for the back of the arena. And, like, at the end of it, like, I feel like with what you were talking about, like, you finally find what it is that you were going through the forest for, and it was that, like, wailing screaming that they do at the end of this. And, like, it's something you didn't want to find, but then they keep their normal singing voice under it, so it almost, like, makes the screaming sound sweeter, and it's, like, it's not all bad. That was a really good song. I thought If It's Okay to Cry was the best use of strings on the album. This sounds like some Studio Ghibli shit. It's great.
Definitely. This kind of reminds me, this is going to be like a cracky connection.
Cracky?
Like,
as in the style of one who smokes crack.
Yes, exactly. I'm gonna get cracky for a minute. Do you know Kageyaki by Masakatsu Takagi?
No, but you've mentioned it before.
Yes, Kageyaki is, like, like a new age album that's like sound collagey, and
Yeah.
it's like very new age classical. So like it uses a lot of Japanese traditional instrumentation, like on the song Semiyobi. But for that album, it is like kind of a lot of field records about growing up and being young and like the joy of just being alive kind of thing. And it's a very like just life
Mhm.
affirming album. And this kind of feels like a lot of the tones on this remind me a little bit of Kageaki, with the strings and also just sort of the a lot of them are buoyant in like a really interesting way where they're always
Yeah.
upturning and upswinging in some way.
Buoyant is a very good word for this record. Like, it
Yeah.
really does just swell and swell the whole time.
It's like affirming emo, which is kind of a weird thing to say,
Yeah.
but it just it feels like the emotions are paying off somehow.
Yeah. No, I agree. It was really cool.
Yeah, I remember I came out of my first listen and I was, like, kicking my feet. It's, like, so awestruck and, like, giddy. I just felt so immersed, and I am
Epic squealing moment.
yeah, and I'm super stoked about Asian Glow being able to it seems like just constantly one up himself.
Yeah, I hope this is only the start of, like, an upward swing for him.
Yeah, like, between Weather Glow and this one, like, he had really just kind of knocked full sickle on its ass, you know?
2 projects within 3 months, and both of them are, like, some of the best stuff released this year.
Yeah, it's really amazing. So
Yeah.
this I don't normally, like, say where things sit for me in my ranking, but truly, The Perfume Genius and this one are, like, gotta be in my top 5 or top 10 for this year so
This is
far.
this is also in my top 10. I think I put it 6th right
Yeah,
now.
I'm super, super, super happy with this.
Yeah,
I'm
I have
super tempted to get the vinyl.
yeah, I'm also really tempted by the vinyl of this one, but it doesn't ship till December, and
I
it's
know.
June.
I'll have to think. I do have money,
Yeah.
and so,
I have no money, and I'm saving up for stuff later this summer, so
good.
that's fun.
Well, maybe you
Yeah,
should
do we
come to
wanna head into our
Savannah. You should
singles?
come to California and listen to it with me.
Maybe I should, that's true, I'll just
Yeah.
come hang with your record player.
Yep. Alright, and that concludes our super mega turbo albums, cycle.
Homo edition.
Yeah, and now we move on to our single section with Sophie affectionately titled in the Discord, "Jesus Wept,"
Welcome to the Jesus Wept Zone.
which is a
It
solid over an hour of singles that we had to listen through.
Yeah, it was because, I also called it Jesus Wept because I whittled it down.
Oh, yeah.
Because there was a massive list of stuff that came out of this past month. A more interesting month for singles than albums overall, I think. And just I went through it on this one.
Yeah, you're a soldier for knocking those guys out for me, so I didn't have to worry about it. I appreciate that. Our first guy is Tame Impala and Diana Ross with "Turn Up the Sunshine."
I do feel like it needs to be said that this is from the soundtrack of the new Minions movie,
The
which
Rise
has
of Gru.
an absolutely insane soundtrack lineup. Like, the
Yeah.
lineup for this album, it's like Saint Vincent, I think Ghostface Killa is on it. Diana Ross and Tame Impala, Brockhampton have an original song for it. It's just
Did
it's
they
just a
get
lot.
Brockhampton back together solely for this movie?
No, the song was recorded 2 years ago.
Okay, good. I was like, no shot.
No, the song is a few years old, but it is the first new material from Brockhampton since they supposedly broke up, even though they said they're releasing a goodbye album later this year,
That's
even though they've said that before.
That's
I don't
really
fucking know. I
funny
never know with
actually
them.
that like their fans are gonna have to like go to have this like album cover in their libraries.
Yeah, they're it's only 2 guys. It's Brock and Hampton.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I wish them well in the divorce.
Brock and Hampton's gay divorce.
Who's getting the albums in the divorce?
Who's getting the children? Think of their children.
I think that Kevin Parker was cool on this, and I kind of wish that he had more vocal room.
I didn't like this at first because I went into it with like the idea that this is going to play in the Minions movie, and I think in that context it will be very silly in the movie.
Yeah.
But taken on its own, I was into it.
Yeah, I think that it was fine. I think that his like breezy falsetto is nice to balance out the rest of the track being so bright. And I wish that he had a little bit more vocal happening because it was so Diana.
It is worth mentioning that this is basically a Diana Ross style song that Tame Impala is also on.
Yeah.
Like,
They just kind of threw him on there for the name recognition.
He curated and produced this soundtrack.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
It's crazy. He must have some
Yeah,
serious favors that he called in for this.
Yeah, it is very strange. Song's not bad. I'm totally happy with it.
Yeah, it is thumbs up good.
Not as good as it could have been, but I'm happy with it as a collab between these two.
Yeah. All right, next up is Rina Sawayama with This Hell.
Yeah,
an A on it too. I'm inclined to like it just because I like Rina.
Same.
But the lyrics were cool enough.
I thought they were really heavy-handed.
They were, but I didn't mind them because it is a pop song. But I just hope that on the rest of the album she's a little bit more subtle, like she was on.
Yeah, Sawayama. It's Rina. Like the lyrics on that album are such a gem of that record. So I don't know.
I didn't like the basic drum pattern, and I thought that the guitar solo was cool, but like I thought that it sounded a little phoned in.
I have not heard anybody talking about how this just fucking sounds exactly like Michael Jackson Beat It. I have not heard anybody talking about that, which is insane because it literally has the like gong, gong, gong from the beginning of that song as the main riff. And then the guitar solo sounds a lot like the guitar solo from that song. Like I feel like she's intentionally doing a riff on that song, and I've seen nobody talking about it. I don't think he even has a writer credit, which makes me think I'm going insane, but I don't know.
And we also talk about the cover of the album that this is off of.
She's in her ultra mono era.
Why is she a globe?
I don't know. She's in an orb.
I was baffled by this cover because the cover of Sawayama and also her debut Rina are so good.
The cover of this song is really cool.
Yeah, so
but for some reason she's an orb. She's entered her ball era.
It's just so strange. And I like Rina a lot. I think she's very pretty, but the cover does not really do her much favors.
Rina signed my friend's boobs at a concert.
Really?
It was really good, yeah.
I'm jealous.
Yeah.
All right. Next up is Boris with She Is Burning.
This was crazy ass. This is the most I've liked Boris in a while.
Really? I said that it was kind of a lot of volume, but I didn't feel like there's a lot for me to grab onto.
I feel that way about a lot of Boris. Like they have a lot of sounds that they do. Like they can be really sludgy, or they can be really aggressive, or they can be really meditative. And their new album, Heavy Rocks, is going to be their third album titled that.
Yeah.
And this just puts me back because I know Heavy Rocks, the first one is the one that everybody likes, but the one that I like is the second one with the purple cover. And this just kind of puts me back in the zone of that album. I was into it.
I will have to see how I feel about this album because I've liked like one Boris album, which is Akuma no Uta.
That is a good one.
Because I don't know if
we'll do this because there's a lot coming out around that time, but I am down to if there's not much else.
Yeah. All right, next up is Daphnia with Cherry.
This is the side project of Dan Snaith of Caribou.
Oh, okay. I thought this was cool. It was very chill.
Yeah, I really like this. I love his Daphne stuff. It's like his I'm getting back to house music.
Yeah.
When he's become more like electro synth weird shit on his newer albums.
Who needs Drake House when you have Daphne House?
You fucking did it now. We went the whole episode without mentioning that Drake released an album, and for like 3 hours I lived in a world where he didn't, and I didn't have to think about it.
You know, I saved it for the single so that the real loyal listeners are going to be the ones who get the discourse.
Yeah, I don't really have any discourse because I didn't listen to it.
I didn't listen to it either.
I listened to like 35 seconds of the squeaky bed song that everybody was talking about, and I was like, yeah, I'm good.
Yeah, I listened to 2 tracks off of his previous album, and I listened to the first one, I thought, that's not bad, and I listened to the second one, and I was like, oh, that's bad, and then I dipped.
Which one was the previous? Oh, it was Certified Lover Boy.
Yeah, with the awful Damien Hirst cover.
The lesbian line.
You say you're a lesbian, girl, me too. Have you seen the photo set where it's like, you say you're a lesbian, me too, and then it's like another one where it's about like top, and then the next one is like I'm a woman, and then it's like Drake, like the like,
oh my god, his trans arc.
Yeah, exactly, his trans arc. I'll see if I can find that post. It's a really good one.
That's so funny. My only hot take about the Drake album is that we as a culture let him do this by letting Way Too Sexy break streaming records.
True.
That's our fault.
I just think that we made a mistake making Drake a big person because he has nothing to give.
Yeah. Anyway, Daphne. This has the vibes of like, and a lot of Daphne stuff does this, where it like the main groove is like not in time with the beat at all, but somehow he makes it work anyway.
Yeah. Yeah, I noticed that actually. I like this, and I think it was cool. And it reminded me a little bit. This is gonna be kind of cursed to say, but it reminded me a little bit of my friend Liam, the one who I listened to the albums with this week. His project DJ BIPC, which stands for DJ Balls and Pussy Cum Shot, and he
DJ Balls and Pussy Cum Shot.
We're big fans of him here, but he dropped his a new EP called AM FM PM, and I actually like it quite a bit. The track PM I think is probably the best. I like it.
You're sampled on at least one DJ BIPIC, right?
I'm on the song Terrorism. As the producer track. Which is pretty great. Yeah, it kind of reminded me because his new stuff is very house and he's sampling a lot of like ambient house and electro. So I was like, oh, Leon, you would like this. So it was
DJ BIP sorry, you do it.
DJ, you are now listening to DJ Balls in Pussy Cum Shot.
You'll love this, bro. You gotta get on this.
Yeah.
If you're into Caribou, you will love DJ Balls and Pussy Cum Shot.
Yeah, you gotta listen to the song Crack Baby. He reads the incel wiki and then samples underscores.
It's the new wave of the future.
Exactly. It's his he does like do plunder phonics, so it is a genre, I guess. But it's a fun mixture of you never know if you're gonna get a joke song or an actual song when he drops. Okay, our next track is gonna be Oliver Sim of the XX with Hideous featuring Jimmy Somerville of Bronski Beat.
Oh my god.
So this
is amazing. This is like this is absolutely delicious. I expected nothing from this, and I got everything. Oh my god!
So I know nothing about either of these people.
Wait, hold up. Oh, never mind. Okay.
What?
On my thing, the Craig bot just disappeared from the chat. Like on the web.craig chat, but we're still in there, so I don't know.
Nothing changed for me.
Okay, that's fine.
So yeah, I know nothing about either of these people. I don't listen to any of the XX, and I don't really know anything about Bronski Beat. You should. I have listened to a little bit of the XX, and they don't thrill me, honestly.
I only really like their first album, but it is a classic. That album is a classic of its era.
I thought this was okay. I'm sad that it didn't hit me like you. It kind of passed me by as far as presentation, but I like the lyrics.
Jimmy Somerville is like, so he's an 80s gay icon. Bronski Beat were like one of the first, not one of the first, but like guys who wrote songs openly about being gay to chart and do well in a mainstream sense, because it was like vague enough that like people could relate to it. And hearing his like falsetto on this song after I don't know of any Bronski Beat or Jimmy Somerville stuff after the 80s. So hearing him on this song in 2022 while Sim is talking about the things that he's talking about on this song is like such a symbolic like passing of the torch. I don't know. I loved this song. I got so much out of it. I've had it on loop. It's one of my favorite songs of the year already.
Oh, I'm glad you liked it.
Yeah, it was great.
Hopefully whatever Oliver Sim does next is cool as well.
The other two songs that he's released for this album so far are just okay, IMO, but I am very curious about where the album's going to go from here.
Interesting. All right, next one is Alex G with Blessing.
Okay, I will be the first to admit I don't really care about this song.
Yep.
It's fine. But I just needed to put it on here to talk about that Twitter video of Alex G that came out this month.
Why is he breaking it down like that?
This song is playing at a concert and his vocal part is over and it's kicked into like the just drum guitar synth bit at the end, and he starts throwing that singer-songwriter ass in a circle. It is unbelievable.
It is ridiculous.
I've never seen a human being move like that.
He looks detached from himself. Like his arms look like they're on like fucking like swivels.
It's like there's somebody holding him with marionette strings above the stage and like jerking his head and his butt in different directions. It
It's
is
so funny.
crazy.
I have our chat open looking at the GIF you made of it, and I'm just giggling.
The GIF, because I couldn't lose a single piece of it, but the GIF is like a minute and a half long. It's so funny. I have been posting this GIF everywhere. It brings me so much delight. I don't even care that much about Alex G, but like he has this reputation as this like austere folk like traveling journeyman who just like appears out of the mist and delivers new music. And here he is on stage just whipping ass. It is
good.
It's so good.
I don't even remember listening to this song. It totally passed me by.
If you can go find the video, it's incredible. It's on Twitter somewhere. It's the only reason I bring this song up, because otherwise it just passed me by. But I was feeling nothing about the song as I was listening to it, and then at the end, I had already seen the video and I didn't know what song it was, and it breaks into the synth paths from the video, and I said, "Oh, it's the Butt Cheek song!" Like that's just the impact this had on me. It was so good.
Song, that's awesome. Okay.
Alex G, I want whatever you're having. Yeah. It's so good.
He's high on life, I hope. Just let him go. I just have him up on my screen now. I'm just gonna leave him there.
He deserves it.
Yeah. My next one, our next one, only me. Our next one is
Wailing.
The Garden with Freight Guard.
This goes.
I like this a lot.
Yeah, this goes pretty hard.
I thought this was good. I'm excited to see where the boys go next, because this feels like a revival of their style from earlier stuff, like Haha.
Yep.
But like more refined.
Totally agree.
Yeah.
I'm totally down for them to go back more like no wavy real punk instead of like chucklefuck stuff. Yeah. And like I love their chucklefuck stuff, but like I think they really do have great punk chops. So I'm glad to hear them doing stuff like this again.
I saw them live a little while back, and they put on such a good show. Like I really respect them as musicians and performers. So
I never showed you. There's in Monty in one of the staircases, someone has put up a sticker of Fletcher in his clown makeup, like driving a car and pointing out the window straight at the camera. And that was just there. And I would see him every single time I went up the stairs to go to class. It was great.
That's good. Did you see that there is one of the brothers, I can't remember which one it is exactly, has his like side project Puzzle?
That is
Wyatt.
Fletcher.
I think it's Wyatt.
Wyatt.
I think it might.
The other one is Enjoy.
I think it might be Wyatt. But he did drag for one of the photo shoots, and he is like the prettiest woman I've ever seen.
Oh yeah. The way they do androgyny is so cool, especially because they're like identical twins and they like divorce their like their appearances like that.
Yeah. So cool.
Puzzle is Fletcher.
Okay.
Wyatt is Enjoy.
Okay. I just think that they're so cool.
Yeah, they are very, very cool. They live life the way they want to.
They live that Vada Vada lifestyle.
When Burger went down, they were the artists that I was like, oh please God, not them, and it wasn't them, and I was so happy about that.
I was really bummed at my concert because the crowd kind of blew, but
Sucks.
It was because it was all.
What do you even do in at a garden show? Just like
same thing you do at a normal punk show.
Spin in circles and pee on the floor.
Yeah, I mean, most of it was kind of annoying because it was all like TikTok teens who had just gotten
into them.
And they were there mostly for like their Mimi tracks from earlier before like Serial Killer. But when they started playing shit like AM/PM Truck and like they played to close out, they played A Struggle, and like those screamy portions, like people weren't getting as into them, and I was like, dude, come on.
I would kill a man to see California Here We Go perform live.
Oh, dude, it was a really, really good show. Like I was just hanging out watching them, but since it was kids who don't know like pit etiquette, they kept like this same like 4 kids kept crowd surfing like every 10 minutes. And I was like, dude, stop cycling through this. Like,
please let somebody else have a turn.
And I was near the gutter, so I kept seeing the same fucking kids come back in and out. And I was like, somebody stop them. Like, hold them down.
That's so funny. I've only crowd surfed once, and it was when I was seeing Pup in Atlanta. And the experience was incredibly funny because before their last song, which was they did if this tour doesn't kill you into DVP from The Dream Is Over, which is like their best twofer. That's another one where the transition is like, it's so good. And before they went out, they said, we're not doing an encore. Encores fucking suck. We're not coming back out. You'll accept what we give you.
Yeah.
And as soon as they said that, I was like, oh my God, I've never done it before. I have to do it now. I don't know when the next time I will is. And so I was like charging up to the front. It was really good.
That is good.
That show is fucking awesome. They brought out Scatoon Network to do a trombone solo on Free at Last for Morbid Stuff because he's in the they're in the music video.
Dope nasty. I don't know anything about
it was awesome.
any of the ska people, but I'm happy that you were happy.
They're like the most famous ska musician currently, probably. They have a YouTube channel where they like do other music in ska format, and then they're also in like a band called We Are the Union. That's probably the biggest like ska band right now, and also they release solo stuff as Jer, which is on our list for next episode.
Uh-oh.
Megan's gonna get ska pilled.
I will not. You know what I realized that my mom likes ska.
If you can get unclogged, you can get ska pilled.
No, because I think I've already kind of decided that ska isn't good for me, but I'm open to Drain.
I decided that Drain wasn't good for me, and then I liked Crest, so you never know.
My mom likes ska because she's a big Gwen Stefani stan.
Oh, yeah.
So no doubt she was into Tragic Kingdom way, way, way in the day. So
No Doubt is okay. They have some good songs, but that's not the kind of ska I'm into.
I think that Gwen Stefani is cool, but her recent stuff where she's been like doing collabs with Blake Shelton.
Well, they're married.
They're bizarre. I know. They're married,
it's not good.
It's just strange to have them making music together, which like I understand wanting to do that, but it's just such a weird combination of people.
It is very odd.
Yeah. All right. Let's go on to Of Montreal with Marijuana as a Working Woman.
This is the most I've enjoyed an Of Montreal song in years, straight up.
Probably the most that I've enjoyed an Of Montreal song, like of all of that I've listened to them. They're very cool.
This is crazy. This goes through like 9 different things in the span of like 6 or so minutes.
Yeah, I thought that it was a couple of different singles, honestly, and then I came back and I was like, wait.
Oh my God. Yeah, that's the kind of thing they used to do back on their old records a lot, and the cover for this new album is definitely like harkening back to their older records. Mm-hmm. I'm hoping they'll finally ditch the horrible synth pop thing that they've been driving at for a few years now.
Yeah, I also noticed that they're definitely going back to the really, really obnoxious titles for the albums.
well, White Israelic Irrealis Mood was pretty bad.
Yeah.
But then the next two were like, I don't fucking remember because they were so unmemorable.
Yeah.
It was like no doubt or something like that.
Yeah. So that's promising ? But
You're Fun is what it was called.
I liked the lyric when they asked me my gender, I just tell them brunette.
yeah.
That's a good one.
Kevin's really good. I saw Of Montreal headline Savannah Stopover. I think I've said that.
Yeah. I saw
and it was
this year.
It was right after White is Relic came out. So they really only played the singles from that and then a whole lineup of older stuff. Mm-hmm. And Kevin hugged me after the show and it was so good. It was awesome. I love that show.
Yeah. So this one was neat. I liked it. I think worth it to check out if you have ever been invested in them as a band, because I think that this will probably be a cool revival album for them. I feel like quarantine was a big reset in music.
I hope it was. Like, I hope people can really get back in touch with like the things that make them tick.
I feel like that's really what's been happening with some of the new people that we've seen dropping things.
Yeah.
So I'm interested.
Can I say the title for the next one?
Yes, please.
So up next is the Immaculate Ocean Kelly with her new song Multiverse of Kuntness.
This is probably the most obscene thing I've heard in a really long time, and I enjoyed it a lot, but I feel like I probably missed some of the references, being a Marvel fan or seeing any of these movies.
So I haven't seen this movie, and I'm going to actually take a guess that she hasn't either, because she does this for like every single pop culture trend that happens. Like she did 2 songs for WandaVision called, one was just called Agatha All Along, Uh, um, and the other one was called Wanda's Cunty Vision.
Oh my
Uh,
god.
she is like, oh my god, I love her. I love her so much. Do you remember that time when Azealia Banks put on her Instagram story that weird rap of her going, "Can you feel my vegan pussy, my vegan cunt?"
No, but that sounds right.
Yeah, so Azealia Banks put that on her Instagram story, and Ocean Kelly turned it into a whole song. It is unbelievable. She is like, I don't know, her charisma on all of this is like, she sells it so hard. Also, adrianxpression, I've never heard him in my life, but he kills it.
Yeah, it was very good. I liked this. I sent it to Taylor because she's just. It seems like her speed. I was like, you would get a kick out of this. She goes, love that title already.
The album cover on this is like, it has
Hilarious.
to be seen to be believed.
It's so good.
She's so good.
I'd like to hear a collab between Ocean Kelly and DJ Sabrina, the Teenage DJ. Like they could get some insane sampling, and then Ocean
like
Kelly.
The pop culture.
Yeah, Ocean
Oh
Kelly just
yeah,
say something fucking bonkers over it.
That's the funniest part of this, is that I'm 100% certain that she doesn't clear any samples that she gets and just puts them up on Spotify anyway.
Yeah.
And no one will ever care. It's so good. Just like the absolute throwing caution to the wind. It's so fun. I've just been like shoveling gay music onto you these days.
Which is fine by me. I'm all
I
for
hope
learning more.
I hope this was an enlightening entry into like fucked up ballroom rap.
It really
for you.
was. And we are going on to an unexpectedly gay song later.
Yep.
But until then we can go on to La Femme with Sacatela. Sacatela.
Yeah. So this is a French like synth pop kind of group that I really, really want to like, and I've liked a lot of their songs in the past, but I think they have never been able to pull it together into a really coherent album.
Mm-hmm.
And this song is one of their best ever, in my opinion, and I hope it is a good sign for where they're going next.
Yeah, I thought this was sweet. I liked her voice. The production was really clear and good. I like the cover a lot.
Yeah, it's cool.
The cover's really pretty. I'm just a big fan of like linoleum print, like vibe stuff like that. Like the Apple Music cover for their folk, like indie folk playlist is like one of my favorite things ever. It's a like a lino cut of a frog playing banjo. And it just makes me smile every time I see it.
I'm opening this up because I need to see it.
Yeah.
Oh wow, it actually looks kind of exactly like this.
Yeah. I was kind of shocked, but isn't it cute?
Yeah, it is really cute. I just wonder if it's the same artist, honestly, because like it is so close.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's weird.
It really just made me think of that.
Or if they're based off something historical that I don't recognize. They're both based off.
I mean,
the
it's
same
kind
thing.
of it's just a tradition of printing that looks like that. I know I follow like 3 artists on Instagram who do it with actual lino, and it looks pretty similar.
Cool.
So it's kind of just a long-standing thing, but the color use is pretty similar between them, which is why I was thinking. But
Also, the placement of the sun and the look of the stars and like the way it's like color inverted halfway, like 2/3 of the way down it. Like it is. It's very specific. It's kind of weird. I didn't know that.
But now you saw a cute little frog today.
I did. I really like him. That's a little guy.
He's nice. I see that playlist at the bottom of a lot of albums I like. And it always makes me smile. I'm like, oh, I got the frog album today.
You're a frog.
I am a frog. Every time one of my kids in work draws a frog, I get really excited, and then they don't realize why, and then I like will point at something with my left hand, and they're like, "Oh, you have a frog on your arm." Like,
you're the frog.
Yeah.
A frog is part of you.
Yeah. This is gonna be really random. You know what I've been okay, let me explain to you my thought process. So you said you're a frog, and then I was like, it made me think about the Destroyer album or the Destroyer song June, where he says a snowman is a fucking idiot somebody made in the sky.
Yeah.
Because I was like, oh, I'm the fucking idiot frog. And then it made me think that I've been listening to that song a lot, and I've been listening to It Takes a Thief like constantly this summer. So shout outs.
The fucking idiot somebody made.
Yeah, shout
a
out.
fucking idiot made by somebody.
Yeah, shout out to Destroyer for some good summer jams from a couple months ago.
Dan the man.
Dan the man. All right, now we can go on to the one that I've been seeing the most buzz about, which is Pharrell Williams with Cash In, Cash Out, featuring Tyler, the Creator, and 21 Savage.
Okay, so this is the kind of song that I think I'd ordinarily just be lukewarm on. What do you think of it?
I was lukewarm on it.
So,
I thought
did
that
you
Tyler had a really good bar on it, though. I liked his verse.
Yeah, he does the same thing he always does on features like this, but you always know that he's like excited to work with Pharrell.
Yeah, specifically the last line I liked.
I don't remember what that was. What was it?
I need to look it up to quote it directly. Let me do that real quick. You talk real quick.
I got it. In the mirror, like, who that? I'm like you. Anytime I do something, motherfucker's like, oof.
Yeah. I just like that oof. It physically echoes.
Yeah. So I have been spinning this song constantly because of the music video, which I can confidently say is one of the best music videos I've ever seen in my entire life. It is one of the craziest things I've ever seen. What is the name of those like old school animation things? That like it would a zoetrope.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's like there are things printed on the inside of a circle, and so as the circle spins, the images blur together and it looks animated.
Yes.
So they made a 3D one.
Ooh.
With insane like looping imagery for all the different lines and stuff, and the only thing that tipped me off that it was not really like an actual thing they built was like some of the camera angles and like their lip sync, because it is done unbelievably. This is one of the coolest music videos I've ever seen in my entire life.
I'm definitely gonna watch it after this.
It's like a enormous like castle shaped zoetrope of like little 21 Savage and Pharrell and Tyler like dancing and lip syncing and like throwing money around. It's crazy.
That is crazy.
It's so cool.
Yeah, I like this enough, and I think that the music video will probably do a little bit for me. I thought that the single cover was kind of funny because they almost looked like Fortnite models.
Oh yeah, well it's like the little figure models of them from the video.
Oh, okay.
They're supposed to look like little ceramic guys.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll check that out. But
yeah,
cool,
it was awesome.
All right, next up is
cash in, cash out, cash in, cash out, cash out, cash out, cash out, cash out.
Next up is Serengeti with Sufjan Denny.
Oh my god!
This was probably my favorite of the singles. I liked this a lot.
Okay, do you know this song? Because this is not a new song. This is a Sufjan Stevens remix of a song from like 2008.
No, I do not.
Okay, so I'm so glad I get to explain this. Serengeti is a black rapper from Chicago who spent an entire album called Dennehy in character as a white suburban Chicago dad called Kenny Dennis.
That's good.
It's an entire album, and it's so like weirdly affectionate towards this type of guy. It's amazing. It's so good. And this song, so I didn't know this song either. I just found it through this. And oh my god, it's so good. Not just are like the flows on this and the beat really good, and like Sufjan's contributions really, really like tangible and cool. Like, it's so funny. Like, the things he says on this song make me go insane. Back in the damn Buick, off to get some minute rice. Shit, there's my damn wife.
Yeah, and he's like walking the store like my dick hurts. Like, it's just
okay. It does bear mentioning that he did say cock. Walk in the store like my cock hurts.
Okay, yeah, that's even better. Yeah, that
grow a mustache the size of Mike Ditka's forehead. Like, it's so good.
This is funny.
It like genuinely slaps and also made me laugh so many times. And I cannot tell you the number of times I've been on the phone with somebody the past like month that we've been away, and I've just started saying favorite actor Dennehy, favorite Jingo duels, bears, hogs, socks, bulls. Like, it is the stickiest. It's so good. And Sufjan yelling behind him, bears, hawks, socks, bulls, with the same like fairy voice that he always uses. Like, ugh. I have a Sufjan Stevens fixation, and I always have. The man just fascinates me, and this like adds to his mystique for me just like so much.
This is an awesome track for me to hear right now because I've been playing Sufjan Stevens radio on Pandora in my classes when I teach, because I want to indoctrinate the kids. I joke with my coworker Vincent. I'm like, Vince, I'm turning the kids gay. I'm playing them Sufjan.
You have no ability to turn people gay unless you turn yourself gay as well, but I think that might happen if you listen to too much Sufjan anyway.
Yeah,
so.
I'm just slowly like morphing.
Yeah.
I think that Art Steps has a majority gay in the teacher workforce, which is kind of funny.
Rainbow pilling yourself slowly.
Yeah. We will see. But yeah, this one was really cool.
This is a banger. This is so good. I can't say enough good things about this track.
Next up.
Favorite actor, Dennehy.
Yeah.
Favorite Drinko duels.
Yes.
Bears, hawks, socks, bulls.
Yes. Next up is Unimclaw with Jimmy Neutron.
Slapper.
I thought this was okay. It didn't like do a ton for me. I thought the cover was really cool.
Yeah, Unimclaw is a band that I've had recommended to me a lot, and I heard their Jimbo demo, and I was like, yeah, it's okay. This is the first song of theirs that I've really, really been able to click with. Yeah, I dug this one, and I like the music video too. It's cool.
All right, next up is Pet Shimmers with Edgelord.
Banger also.
Once again, just okay.
Sad. I enjoyed this on kind of the same level. I think I enjoyed the Asian Glow album. Just like the progression of it and like the rich sound of it was keeping me invested.
Yeah, I think that maybe because it didn't have quite the same impact on the drums and stuff. It wasn't grabbing me quite as much. Stuff like this, it really needs to have strong drums to really get me. So Michi Darko with Kill Us All.
This is something.
Yeah, I thought this was interesting.
Yeah, I have some thoughts about this one because Michi Darko is like the main guy from Flatbush Zombies, who are this Brooklyn rap, like I think there's 3 of them, trio, that are affiliated with like Joey Badass and the Pro Era crew.
Okay.
And they all did like Beast Coast together was their like thing that they did.
Mm-hmm.
So it's cool to hear him stepping out on his own, and I think he does cool things rhythmically on this beat.
Yeah.
But like the politics of this song are bizarre.
They are a little strange. I wasn't able to give it like my full attention, full disclosure, because this was like the last thing I listened to before we started. But from what I got, I was like, what angle is this?
Yeah, I'm not sure where he's trying to come at this from. And as a lead single for an album, this is like confusing. Like I don't know where he's gonna go from here.
It did remind me a touch in the sense of like confusing ideologies of N95 off the Kendrick album.
Yeah,
where we were like looking at his verse and we were like, what is this? What is happening here?
I don't think that was N95. That was Savior.
No. Was it? No, there was one verse that was about like masks and like COVID.
Yeah, that was Savior with the Kyrie Irving line.
Was it?
Yeah, that's Savior.
Damn.
That's the song that I decided not to think too hard about.
Yeah, does this tell you that I have not gone back to that album since
I have not. I have not either. I had to pull up the track list just now to look at that.
Gotcha.
Yeah, no, there's some cool like stuff on this. Like it's crazy because America loved the Black Panther movie, but in '66 they hated the Black Panther movement.
I thought that was cool,
and some other stuff like that. Like Big Brother always watching you, so better be safe. Democrat, Republican, they all evil to me. But remember, the Democrats started the KKK. I turn on CNN, they tell me to be like MLK instead of Malcolm X, but they both died the same way. But then I really like that. But immediately after that, he says, you know what goes hand in hand? Hollywood and CIA, Operation Black Messiah. It's the FBI paid, Epstein Island, QAnon, and then Pizzagate. So,
putting all of those things in like the same breath is a little strange because it almost makes it feel like, because people do have conspiracy theories about like MLK being shot by the CIA and they're like, didn't happen.
Well, the CIA has had to pay the King family. Like, there were courts that ruled that actually happened.
And NASA also has proved that we go to the moon, but that doesn't stop people from thinking that
That's
they didn't.
you know what? That's true.
So there are people who are like, didn't happen, sorry. So putting those in the same breath is sort of like, okay, you're taking something as a given, but other things you're saying, like, it's just strange. But yeah, this one, I thought that it was like an entertaining listen, but I don't know if I would go back to it really.
That's kind of how I feel too. I liked it, but I think if I'm going to listen to it more, I'm just not going to think too much about what he's saying.
Yeah. All right, our next and final thing.
Oh, I actually also do like the line before we start, because this is like, I actually did really love this line. I watch murder documentaries every single night. 50 episodes in, they never called it white on white, but if I kill my neighbor, they can say it's black on black or say it's gang related just so they can boost the stats.
Yeah,
I like that was a really cool line.
All right, next and final thing on the singles list and in the episode itself is going to be Black Midi with Eat Men Eat.
Ooh.
This is a cool track.
This is probably one of my favorite Black Midi songs ever.
Yeah, this is like we were talking about how the 700 Bliss album like makes you feel haunted.
Yeah.
This does the same thing, but for the Black Midi discog.
It's also funny that we mentioned The Lighthouse earlier on this album, because this song reminds me so much of The Lighthouse.
And the music video.
I haven't seen the music video.
It's black and white. That's all you need to know.
Oh, well, okay.
Yeah, it's like a black and white period piece music video where they're like cowboys.
They're like miners,
yeah, like
right?
miner cowboys. And it frames that captain character as like this insane like revolutionary leader who ends up getting kind of overthrown for being a tyrant. And there's like big undertones of this captain looking down on the people that he's leading, as in these two people, for being gay and in a relationship, and saying there's like that one line where they're talking about like that they're in love and they're related, and then the next line is the captain calling them the F slur.
Yeah, the arrangements and like instrument choices on this album are crazy. I have the liner notes in front of me right now, and Greep is credited with whip, whistles, accordion, lap steel. Yeah, Cameron is credited with horn arrangements, flute, string arrangements, electric guitars, sub bass, whatever the fuck a marxophone is.
Whoa.
And yeah, there's so many odd instruments on this that all add up to like this kaleidoscopic crazy ass sound. It's very cool.
I cannot even tell you how excited I am for this album, and I'm even more excited for my vinyl to come. I got the red vinyl, so I'm super stoked to see that.
A marxophone is a fretless zither played via a system of metal hammers.
Jesus Christ.
Sounds somewhat like a mandolin, and the timbre is also reminiscent of various types of hammered dulcimers. Wacky.
So this song kind of rocked my shit, and I was just stoked about it. We did have a moment where we were like, wait, is Cameron gay? Because he's the singer, and he says the F slur like very boldly and like full chested. So we were like, fresh off of Kendrick, we were like, oh god, not another one.
Not again.
Yeah, but he is most certainly gay. I mean, there's even that line on the cover that they did of Love Story by Taylor Swift, where the original line is, you'll be the prince and I'll be the princess, and Cam sings it and he says, you'll be the prince and I'll be the prince too. And I was like, that's sweet.
Yeah, this was a crazy song, and it does make me super, super psyched for everything that's coming up with them.
Between this and Welcome to Hell, which is like it is Primus from Hell. Like, it's just, I'm so stoked to see all of what they do.
Yeah, I'm very, very curious.
Love these boys. And
some very, very good British boys.
Yeah, that'll do us.
That'll do it. Wow, that was quite an up.
Yeah, our first fully digital episode.
I think we made the transition okay.
Yeah, I think we did okay. I was worried that we were going to be talking over each other more, but I think we did a pretty okay job. We
can pick up what the other person's putting down.
Yeah.
I think it's going to take a bit for me to loosen up like this, because I definitely felt like, since I ended up not really seeing you, like I was going off my notes a bit more.
Yeah.
But like I think we did good.
I think we did too. And I will let you get some rest now, so you can recharge.
It's not that late, but I do need
your cough.
I am ill.
And I'm gonna run out and get myself some fish for breakfast, for dinner.
for dinner for some pop that pussy for breakfast.
Oh yeah, some din din.
So it is. You can follow us on Twitter at pressescast. You can subscribe to us on Spotify, on YouTube, Scad Radio, and SoundCloud, Scad Radio as well. I will be assembling some gargantuan, hideous beast of a playlist to put in the description of all of these to so you can follow along with what we're talking about. You can follow me on Twitter at Saint Soap. I don't think I've ever really plugged myself like that on here, but why not? Saint_Soap.
Yep.
And I don't have a radio show to plug anymore.
No, you can always just plug your Spotify because you make playlists.
Not that often. I don't want to plug my Spotify because the name is embarrassing.
All right. Well, you can follow me at megan.atwell on Instagram. I will be uploading the YouTube video at some point.
Woo!
I also write articles for the Scad Radio website. I do interviews with local artists from Savannah. I should be transcribing a few of those that I did from last quarter that I haven't gotten around to yet pretty soon, so expect those.
I wrote articles for it, past tense.
You can also follow me on Apple Music. I think I'm just at Megan Matwell. I do upload playlists. You can also listen to all my past radio broadcasts on there.
Yay!
That'll do me.
Yeah, I'm set too. I'm Sophie.
And this is Megan.
We're still hot.
And still on the presses, even online.
Somehow.
Yeah.
All right. I will see you all next time.
See y'all next time.
Bye.
Jennifer nearly jumped into the